pronounce it, Charles? Abingdon?
It looks like it. It's spelled phonetically that way, I believe. Abingdon or Abingdon.
Abingdon. I didn't read that very well, did I?
No, I'd give it another run, I meant.
Sounded like Tim Kaine.
You listen. You listen. Like the guy just said a spot for Newsday, this newspaper in New York. And the guy said, I mean, it sounds, it's just absurd. The guy's going, promoting what's in today's paper. A farewell to Coretta Scott King. Yeah, now what is that? There you go, girl. Well, what is that?
I don't know. It writes exactly what he sounded like.
Doesn't it?
Good Lord.
You're listening to Imus in the Morning on Super Talk WFHG. Abingdon. That's not it.
No, that's not good.
You're listening to Imus in the Morning on Super Talk WFHG, Abingdon, Bristol, Kingsport, Johnson City.
Abingdon.
Abingdon?
Abingdon.
Give it another run, I meant.
Jesus, don't you do this for a living?
Yeah, but I can't.
Abingdon.
So some words I can't say.
There's a lot of words you can't say regularly.
I can say F you. I can say that.
Bring it on. Come on. Go, baby.
Now you read it.
Well, they want me to do it, do
Well,
they?
I don't care what they want.
And now, the President of the United States.
Mayor, listening to Imus in the Morning on Super Talk WFHG, Abingdon, Bristol, Kingsport, Johnson City. Get out.
That was good, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. I've been working on it ever since the correspondence dinner.
Go, baby.
Trying to make my own little tape, if you know what I mean.
7 minutes after the hour, so we have the president's speech coming up and all that kind of stuff. And an amusing story, at least it was amusing for me yesterday when I left MSNBC to go to Dr. Hoffman's office. But first, the news. Good morning, Charles.
Good morning, I-Man. Capitol Hill dividing predictably in its response to the President's State of the Union speech. Republican Senator Charles Grassley said Mr. Bush is offering, quote, once-in-a-generation levels of tax relief and trade agreements to strengthen the economy. Other side, Democrat Barack Obama complaining about a lack of substance, saying there wasn't any beef there. House Republican Whip Roy Blunt saying Americans have been effectively challenged to enhance our already competitive workforce. Ted Kennedy said the president's speech full of empty promises. And on Iraq and the threat from terrorism, Senator John Kerry said Mr. Bush is wielding national security like a political weapon. But House Speaker Hastert, the other side, said Mr. Bush was right about needing to stay on the offensive in the war on terror. And as I mentioned, a snap poll taken immediately after the address, CBS. Don't forget that.
Oh, go ahead.
Found 77% of people who watched the speech agreed with Mr. Bush's proposals, but significantly also found that 68% of them don't think he will ever be able to accomplish the stuff that he set out and talked about.
Now, coming up at 9 minutes after the hour, Alan Greenspan, chairman of the Federal Reserve, who's been widely described by everybody from Jack Welch to, on down, as an absolute genius in the way he handled the American economy for over 20 years. Did the president mention him last night?
No, I didn't. I was looking for that I thought perhaps he would when he mentioned the retiring Senator Day O'Connor, but he didn't. That I noted.
Well, it irritated me, but so, and of course, as Craig Crawford pointed out, we lost an entire American city, New Orleans, and that got 6 lines right after the panic grass. Anyway, here's Andrea Mitchell, who was on the NBC News coverage, which is what I watched last night. Brian Williams and Russert. I thought they were outstanding, as was Miss Mitchell. Here she is now. Good morning, Andrea.
Thank you. Good morning.
How are you?
Great, thank you.
So were you irritated the president didn't say anything about your husband?
No. But I do agree.
Well, of course you were. You had to be. I was irritated. So.
No, I don't think that was necessary or appropriate.
Well, of course you should have said something. You know, blew a big old French kiss to Sandra Day O'Connor. I mean, she's fine, but
no, I think
Alan Greenspan made a far greater mark on this country than she did.
No, I think if anything,
I was outraged.
He could have mentioned the new chairman of the Fed, Ben Bernanke, who had been confirmed that day, along with Judge Alito.
Yeah, you heard what Jack Welch said about Ben. Some big shoes to fill there.
Well,
Bubba.
He's going to be just fine. And I agree with Craig Crawford that it was extraordinary that the president paid so little attention to New Orleans and Mississippi.
Hey, did you see that thing on the Bob Schieffer's news, which I watched too, by the way. The other night he had
yes.
that artist who does those portraits of your husband.
Yes, I thought it was a
pretty cool,
very
wasn't it?
charming piece. Anthony Mason did it.
Y'all gonna buy one of those or no?
Well,
You'd think she'd send you one.
well, she is making very good money for those portraits.
Yeah, I know that. I was actually thinking about going down to. It's down at the Broom or Bloom Gallery.
The Broom Gallery, yeah.
I was
She
thinking
had done very well last summer in, the Hamptons or someplace with a lot of folks buying those. And the nice thing is that she put herself through graduate school. I mean, that was the original reason she started these things.
Anyway, back to you agreeing with Craig Crawford.
Yeah, I think it was pretty amazing that other than the political imperative, of course, is what are you going to say after you say I'm sorry about New Orleans and Mississippi and the poor response. So in a State of the Union speech, it's pretty obvious you don't emphasize your problems. You try to, and I'm looking at the picture, for those watching television and not radio, there was a very amusing portrait by Aaron Crow of my husband kind of holding his head. Anyway, it's a political speech, so you hit the political points you want to. But when you talk about energy, it's a shell game. Reducing 75% of what we import from the Persian Gulf sounds good because people think that what we do is rely on Persian Gulf oil, but in fact it's less than 20% of what we import. So he's not mentioning that we're going to reduce Canadian, Venezuelan, or Mexican oil, which are the large exporters to us.
Well,
plus, he's talking about 2025, but there are no real solutions. Was it Bernard who said how?
well, of course, like Craig Crawford also said, these speeches actually are not about how, but they ought to be. So.
Yeah, and I thought his comment about January being the apt time because of New Year's resolutions where we all say we're going to exercise more and diet.
What's Al doing this morning, by the way? I don't want to hear any more about the speech. It's boring. I mean, you're not boring, but the speech to you.
He's up and exercising and getting ready to go to work.
Go to work where?
He has a new office, which he will go to for the first time this morning, and he will start thinking about a book.
He's not going to take a couple weeks off or something?
Well, no, because he's kind of excited about new adventures and finding out what is out there.
Tell him I said hi, will you?
I surely will.
Okay, thanks. Andrea Mitchell, Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent for NBC News, with a analysis of the President's speech, which I'm tired of hearing about. Aren't you?
Yeah. I've watched it. Yeah. I don't need to hear any more about it.
The business report yesterday, Dow Jones Industrial Average closed down 35 points to 10,864. NASDAQ up 0.96 points to 2305. New York Stock Exchange Composite closed up 1.30 points at 8106. And Ben Bernanke starts today at the Federal Reserve, and we'll see how it works out. We'll get back to you on that, as Jack Wolf said. So we have here at MSNBC we have a good relationship with Rick Kaplan, who runs the place, don't we? Wouldn't you say?
Yes, I would say we have a very good relationship.
Yeah,
yes.
We like him, and I've known him for 20 years.
He's a very decent fellow.
Right. And but with everyone else, we have, it's not an adversarial relationship, it's just cold. It's cold. Now, the staff people, cameramen and those kind of people, and Amy and Randy, they like us.
Yeah, to a certain degree.
To a certain degree. But everybody else pretty much hates us.
Yes.
I think they hate us.
Yeah, I think they do.
So, hi, Amy. So, yesterday, and they're so phony. These we have all of Kaplan's butt boys. They all run around here, and they're all in there having these meetings, fighting over who's going to take the wheel of the Titanic. You know, they're all in there having these meetings, brainstorming a new Maury and Connie show, or whatever the hell they're going to come up with. You know. So when you leave the studio, you go out the main entrance. Right before you open the door to where the guards are, on the right there's a big conference room. Mm-hmm. And these dumb bastards go in there about once a day, and they have these big meetings, you know. And they're like lemmings, you know. They all herd them in there, and then they're in there for who knows how long. So the timing was exquisite because yesterday as I'm walking out, and I walk, Charles will tell you, nobody walks slower than I do.
Unbelievable.
So I'm walking out, and the door opens to the conference room, and these bastards come pouring out of there.
Yeah.
Mark the Mole and a bunch of these other losers.
Right.
And they all see me.
Yep.
And they all immediately turn around and engage in these phony little conversations. Nobody says, "Hi, Imus, how you doing?" Anything.
Quick.
It's the only decent show they have on this godforsaken, horrible cable network.
God, it's him. Talk to me quick.
And
Ask me about American Idol.
so then I slow down, making the bastards stand there and talk to each other. Now these bastards have had a meeting for who knows how long. There's nothing left to say.
Say anything good for you.
So they're all standing, Mark standing there, and a couple of women. They're going, and then I can see the bastards, their eyes, are looking to see if I've gone by yet. You know.
You're walking like
And so then I stop and I look around. You know. Just,
Call my cell phone quick.
not one of them said anything. Not nothing. Not hi.
Come on,
not
ring.
go to hell.
Ring.
Not you know.
Yeah, please.
Hey, is there a case of DJ up at the commissary?
That can't be the first time you experienced that.
Isn't that kind of like what happens at home when Deirdre and Wyatt start them conversations?
That's the level. Here's the problem. This is the problem. That's the level of executives they have here. I mean, an executive who was about half cool would be like Hollander. You know, you'd be. You know, you
My man.
Yeah.
Hey, my bro.
Yeah, you
My
know.
brother.
Hey, bro.
Hey, brother. Everybody say hi.
I wouldn't invite you to the birthday party, but at least the bastard would talk to you. Say, you know, hey, how you doing? What's going on?
My brother, love the shirt.
Hey, good job with Park Week this morning, bro.
When can I get one of those hats?
Hey, bro, where you been? Playing with yourself?
Hey.
You been running, bro? You look good.
All my calls, I'm talking to the I-Man.
That's fabulous. I love it.
Oh, man. That's
Man.
just doesn't get any better now, does it?
Perfect moment. Perfect. They all come pouring out at exactly the
Yeah.
time. that
And you know, if the bastards had any sense, they already know they want to avoid me. Why not just stay in there another, you know, and just have a guard out, have the guard alert them.
Lock the bathroom door.
Imus has left the building, so.
Don't look him in the eye. Don't look him in the eye.
You're really. Say anything to me. Say anything.
God, what
Give me
a,
some papers to read quick.
what a bunch of losers.
Like 30 people reach for 30 cell phones.
Oh, it was just,
Ring.
it was laughable. And then a couple of them, they saw me because there was 2 or 3 little clusters of these morons talking to one another, you know. And then so there was no more room in that area. So a couple of them just whirled around and went back in there. 19 after the hour. Senator John McCain's coming up, and the Motown Moose is in Detroit.
Come out, Virginia, don't let it wait. Catholic girls start much too late. Oh, but sooner or later it comes down to fate. I might as well will be the one. Well, they showed you a statue, told you to pray. They built you a temple and locked you away. Ah, but they never told you the price that you pay. The things that you might have done. Only the good die young. That's what I said. I'm in the morning.
Everybody's talking about how Quaker oatmeal helps lower cholesterol.
She had a worry about her cholesterol.
He doesn't know what it means to have a problem. Congratulations, the rest of us have a problem. I decided to eat Quaker oatmeal for 30 days. It just gobbles up cholesterol.
Friends are spreading the word.
Mine went down 12 points. There's the proof. I have papers showing that my cholesterol dropped 17 points.
I dropped 12 points.
It's true. The soluble fiber from Quaker oatmeal and a low-saturated, low-cholesterol diet may reduce heart disease risk. Quaker oatmeal is something to smile about.
All right. Hold on for a second. Here he comes.
God, he's here.
Insure.com is a new way to shop for insurance. Here's what these people have done at Insure.com. You can compare rates at more than 200 auto, life, health, and home insurance companies. Have the freedom to buy from the company of your choice. Try the Insure.com insurance price comparison service. It works. If you want insurance quotes without any hassles, Insure.com. All right. You're a small business or real estate owner in New York, and You're not banking with North Fork Bank. You're probably being abused by one of the North Fork lookalikes. Boy, a lot of those sprang up, didn't they, Chuck?
Oh, my God.
Ever since North Fork started building branches in New York City, banks from all over the globe have been pouring into Manhattan trying to copy North Fork's success. Even the old New York mega banks have been shamed into being a little nicer to their customers, at least the ones they have left. Except I've seen a bunch of these new branches. They look all automated to me. And you don't see any people in them. I mean, you do in North Fork Bank, but like I pass that one that's above Dylan's Candy. You know, they're at 60th and 3rd every day. You always see people up there fooling around, you know. North Fork is physically convenient to millions of people. You could go in that one above Dylan's Candy there, and Dylan's Candy Bar, I think it's called, and actually talk to somebody, North Fork Bank. Most of North Fork's employees are also owners of the company, and owners, you know, have a kind of more of an invested interest in what's going on, you know. Stop in and meet one wherever you see a North Fork branch. The experience will speak for itself. Member FDIC. So John Canisteel, you know, he started the whole thing. So down there in Long Island with a pair of bib overalls. Oh, now he's got... Oh, the boy has moved uptown.
Boy, no, kid.
Oh, there's an old Hawaiian saying that goes, Makalaka haka, Onawa, Huna, Olaka, Juna, Oka, Kruna, Kona, which means 7-Eleven now offers delicious world roast coffees, including the rich, medium-bodied flavor of the Hawaiian Kona Blend coffee. Which reminds me of another saying, Haka Wanta Nak Justa Chaka, meaning the well-balanced flavor of Hawaiian Kona Blend coffee is brewed fresh every 30 minutes at participating 7-Eleven stores. Oh, thank heaven. Aloha.
All right, Smith, contracts in order?
Yes, sir.
What was that?
Oh, my stomach. I skipped breakfast.
Okay, Gene, is your team ready?
Oh, dear. I skipped too.
Oh, Jenkins.
I didn't eat either.
What's wrong with you people?
Stomach growling? You don't have to skip breakfast. Whip into 7-Eleven for our new pancake breakfast sandwiches, double sausage and cheese, or molasses ham with egg between fluffy maple pancakes. They're great on the go. Oh, thank heaven. At participating 7-Eleven stores.
Stuck in a dead-end job? Unemployed? Sick of the boss? Want to make a fortune working for yourself? If you're serious about becoming a millionaire, then get ready to jot down this important web address.
I went to replacetheboss.com, filled in my personal interest, and their free system placed me with a home-based business.
I'm having so much fun. It's not even like work.
If you're not working from home, then you're missing out on your share of a multi-billion-dollar industry. The one website you need to visit is replacetheboss.com. We'll place you with a lucrative opportunity where you can make money right from your own home. But you need to learn more at replacetheboss.com.
A couple of years ago, I had no job and a ton of credit card debt. Now, money's no longer a problem, and I have the time to enjoy it.
To learn how you can start earning extra money yourself, go to replacetheboss.com.
It's great. I get to work with my friends, and I'm finally making what I'm really worth.
Go to replacetheboss.com and get started today. Take credit for your own success, but respond now while this is still a free service. Check out replacetheboss.com. That's replacetheboss.com.
I'm Debbie Drive-By with the Toyota Fan Highway Patrol, brought to you by the New York Times. There's a new player in town. It's Play, a new sports magazine from the New York Times. The fan who watches, plays, eats, and breathes sports, find it in the Times this Sunday, February 5th. Over the inbound Holland Tunnel, disabled vehicle taking out the left lane inside the tube. 20-minute delays there, 20 at the George Washington Bridge, and inbound at the Lincoln. It's also heavy on the approach from Route 3 because of an accident there. I'm the morning forecast, cloudy, 36 and fair. I'm Debbie Drive-By with the Toyota Fan Highway Patrol.
It's coming up on 25 minutes past the hour here in the Mr. Morning program on the radio all over the country and on MSNBC. Coming up at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, Amy Roback and Randy Meyer do the news, and they'll have all the stuff from last night's State of the Union address. And
all right.
They'll worry you. Just leave Amy alone. She's going to have a baby in about 8 seconds.
Yeah, I know.
So, and it's not yours. Anyway, Amy and Randy at 9 o'clock this morning. And two of the people who actually, I think they like us. Well, why wouldn't they like us? We like them.
As I said,
or maybe they just tolerate us.
To a degree.
Okay, Rob Bartlett
Get crazy.
will be performing Sunday, February 19th at Governor's Comedy Cabaret in Levittown, New York. Just at Broadway, they didn't pay all that much. They'll also be performing Sunday, March 5 at the Community Theater in Morristown, New Jersey. You can go to Rob's website at robshow.com for information and tickets. By the way, Rob is on Broadway in The Odd Couple, playing part of Speed and also understudying for Nathan Lane. I talked to Jerry Zaks the other day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, how's he doing?
He's doing great.
He's got the Cane Mutiny coming out.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
So, he told me that.
It's an American classic.
Said to say hi. And Has he ever cast you in anything?
Well, no, I'm not an actor.
No, I mean, Rob. Has he ever cast Rob?
Yeah, he casts Rush.
No, I guess I should get more sleep.
Take a second there and just regroup, all right? Do you have an understudy for yourself? Yes, I believe Mr. Zach's cast Rob in Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, good. All right. Well, that's great.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. 26 after the hour.
Jesus Christ. Opie, where are you when we need you?
Anyway, Chris Carlin is in Detroit. He's the Detroit dirigible.
Yeah.
The Motown Moose.
That's it.
He's been on a mission to find Miss Ryder, Bob Seger, and try to get an exclusive of my man Kid Rock, and even go over to 8 Mile and check out M's home turf. But I guess none of that's happened, but he must have something. Good morning, Chris.
Well, let me ask you something.
What, baby?
If you were to hear from, you were talking last hour about big interviews, why haven't you lined up, this show should attract it. If you were to hear from one player on either team this week, who would it be?
Jerome Bettis.
Outstanding.
Okay.
You got it done. The fact that I was with the Imus in the morning show, yesterday I was able to get a minute with Jerome Bettis, the hometown boy, the darling of Super Bowl week, at his Campbell's Chunky Soup press conference. And a wide-ranging interview on the important topics. Here now, my interview with Jerome Bettis yesterday. So I've heard, turns out you're from Detroit.
Yeah, that's what it turns out to be. I looked at my birth certificate and actually said Detroit. It was a little bit of a shocker to me as well.
Are you sick of the stories of Jerome Bettis is from Detroit yet?
I was sick of the pictures that they find it. I mean, everybody's finding a different picture of me with a jerry curl, and me with some big glasses and a high top. I mean, I'm saying to myself, who is letting out all of these pictures?
On a more personal level, and I think I can speak from this, do you think that you really represent the big guys everywhere, the fat guys? I'll speak a little frankly because I'm one of them. And do you feel like you're representing well for them?
I think I'm representing the chunky boys pretty well. So I'm proud of that, and that to let everybody know that chunky does not necessarily mean funky.
Do you worry at all about the salt retaining water? Myself, I'm retaining about 90 pounds of it right now.
No, I'm not worried about the salt. You know what I mean? I'm pretty good with that. I'm going to sweat a lot of it out, so I'm not too worried about it.
Jerome, good luck Sunday.
Thank you.
That's a good interview.
That's right.
Yeah. Good for you.
And Big Jerome will get it done like a steak this Sunday for the fat man worldwide.
Very good, Chris. Chris Carlin with Jerome Bettis in Detroit. Senator John McCain's coming up. It's 29 after the hour.
Hey, Dave, let's play Which is Hotter. Okay, which is hotter, a Red Hot Chili Pepper smothered in flaming hot 4-alarm hot sauce or the Wawa roast turkey hoagie?
That makes no sense.
What are you talking about?
Well, you're talking about hotness in two entirely different contexts. Okay? Your pepper scenario is based on a spicy hot theme.
Yeah.
While the Wawa roast turkey hoagie, with its pile of juicy roasted turkey that melts in one's mouth, that's more about a belly-warming, serve-it-up, piping hot kind of hot.
Whatever. Which is hotter?
Well, you're not comparing apples to apples. Be fair.
Oh, come on. We're saying about apples. Which is hotter, a Wawa roast turkey hoagie or a Red Hot Chili Pepper smothered in flaming hot 4-alarm hot sauce?
2 words. Family of hotness.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Look, which is hotter, the Wawa roast turkey hoagie or the Wawa roast pork hoagie?
Okay.
See? Or the meatball hoagie. Or even the roast beef hoagie. Get crazy.
That's not what I asked.
Well, which is hotter, molten lead or molten lava?
Molten lava?
Do you see analogies?
I don't know why I even hang out with you. Seriously.
Delicious, built to order, and each hot in its own special way. The world-famous hot hoagies from Wawa. Get yours today.
Gotta have a Wawa. This is for Frank in New Haven. What's up, Frank? Listen, we hear your boss is a fanatic about downhill skiing, which, of course, means you are now a fanatic. Luckily, you can sign up for AT&T Yahoo high-speed internet for just $14.99 a month. That way, you can study up on the downhill in preparation for the next opportunity to suck up, and your boss will be none the wiser. Okay, that's Frank's world. For everybody that's not Frank, if we can deliver downhill skiing to him, we've got the right plan to deliver whatever sports you're into to you. AT&T Yahoo high-speed internet for just $14.99 a month for 6 months when new customers order online. Compare that to cable. Visit att.com/$14.99. Oh, and pucker up, Frank. It's the season for bonuses. SVC, now joined with AT&T. New AT&T. Your world. Delivered. Tax
taxes, other charges, and the Federal Universal Service cost recovery fee extra. For details of additional charges, restrictions, and requirements, call 1-866-416-6471 toll-free or visit att.com/offer detail. Not available in all areas.
When your car needs an oil change, the best way is Expressway. It's the best expert oil change that's worth more than you pay. At Expressway, drive through center stop. There's no appointment, no delay. For convenient expert oil change, the best way is Expressway. For convenient expert oil change, the best way is Expressway.
When you spend $20,000, $30,000, or $40,000 on a new car, you want it to last, and that's why you should use Expressway Lube Centers. Every Expressway oil, lube, and filter change is 100% manufacturer warranty approved, and Expressway uses quality Castro motor oils for maximum engine protection against sludge buildup. So remember to bring your car to an Expressway Lube Center every 3,000 or 4,000 miles for a 100% manufacturer warranty approved oil change.
For convenient expert oil change, the best way is Expressway.
Expressway, long live your car.
Hey, Coach Jimmy Johnson, what are you doing in Sam's Club?
Stocking up for my big game party. I got this 50-inch high-definition plasma TV, Buffalo hot wings, party trays, and 10 bags of Tostitos.
Tostitos? I'm going long. Throw me a bag.
I don't think so.
Aisle 15, I'm open.
Somebody get a stretcher. That's gotta hurt.
Sam's Club. Everything you need for great big game memories is here. See our insert this Wednesday for big savings on great food items, electronics, and more. 10% service fee applies to all non-member purchases.
You can live truly debt-free on just the money you already make using my proven system. Let me send you a free tape today that shows you how. Hi, I'm John Commuta, creator of the Transforming Debt into Wealth system. My system doesn't consolidate your debt, it eliminates it, no matter how much debt you have.
I'm completely debt-free now, thanks to John Commuta.
Call now and I'll rush you my free tape. Call 1-800-933-1951. That's 1-800-933-1951. 1-800-933-1951.
It is 33 minutes after the hour here in the Imus Morning program on the radio all over the country and on MSNBC. I heard from Bill White over at the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund and the Fallen Heroes Fund.org website. Now we're trying to raise $10 million to finish that rehab center down in San Antonio. And Bill says we're almost there. We tried to get 10 grand. And I was getting discouraged because of my alcoholic personality.
You're right.
You know, I think I think you should give me the $10 million today.
Right.
That's what I actually do think that, particularly with this particular situation, which I've talked about ad nauseum.
And you're not wrong, alcoholic personality or not.
Well, I don't know ad nauseum. I don't think you can talk enough about taking care of these kids. I know the president talked a lot in his State of the Union last night about taking care of these kids, and you know, and it irritated me because it's so disingenuous, because there's so many of them we're not taking care of, and maybe we ought to take a look at the waiting list of kids trying to get in these rehab centers who've been, I mean, it's outrageous. But at any rate, people like Richard Santulli and Bill White and a lot of these folks have put up a lot of money, and this thing is going to get built, and it's going to take care of these kids. Anyway, Delbert Coleman, who's a friend of Richard Santulli, kicked in 50 grand yesterday, and the people from Pfizer, and, you know, ordinarily when I go through the morning, I get more and more pissed off about just a variety of things.
Yeah.
It's just stuff happens. Some stupid executive will come out and say something to me, and that irritates me. Or somebody will do something, you know. Charles will do something, and I love Charles, but, you know, it's just like being married. But anyway, but this morning, I'm just not, I don't know, I'm in about the same mood I was earlier this morning, which was actually a pretty good mood. So Pfizer kicked in 10 grand. Doesn't sound like a lot from Pfizer, but, you know, Pfizer donates $1 billion every year in philanthropic support for various donations and so on. So 10 grand's better than nothing, right, Charles?
Certainly it is.
That's about 5 Viagra.
Yeah, and I guess we'll make it. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm watching the State of the Union last night, and the next president of the United States is sitting out there from the great state of Arizona, clapping like a mental patient at a Leonard Skinner concert, Senator John McCain, and here he is now to explain his bizarre behavior. Good morning, Senator McCain.
Because this pork barrel spending has driven me crazy.
Yeah, I knew that's what you were clapping about. You were the only one clapping at that moment, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's because we got a sickness here in in the nation's capital. It's called not addiction to oil, addiction to pork, and we got to fix it. And if it doesn't get fixed, we're doing obviously terrible things to future generations of Americans. You laugh and you cry. I think I mentioned you on your program a couple of years ago. We gave $3 million to study the DNA of bears in Montana. I don't know if that's a paternity issue or a criminal issue, but you know, come on. It just goes on and on. It's become an epidemic. Let me just give you a quick vignette. Back in 1984, Ronald Reagan vetoed a highway bill that had 152 of these earmarked pork barrel projects on it. He said, I haven't seen so much pork since I gave out blue ribbons at the Iowa State Fair. This last highway bill, 16,140 earmarks, including the famous bridge to nowhere.
In Alaska,
yeah, it's just lurched completely out of control, and it's got to be stopped. And if we're going to have to make other sacrifices to fix Social Security and Medicare, how can we continue this obscene practice of earmarking? And then what happens? Then you get people who become corrupted by it, like this guy, Duke Cunningham, who has just pled guilty. Yeah, just pled guilty. And we've got this Abramoff scandal, which there's going to be lots more comes out before it's over. And it's not the lobbying that needs reform, it's the system that needs reform.
You know, speaking of all these pork barrel projects and the 16,000 earmarked for jive, you are the one who got me started down on the road with these kids injured in Iraq and Afghanistan by asking me on the air. I was at the ranch. I'll always remember the day you asked me if I'd go to Walter Reed, and I said yes. And then when I got back, I called you, and you were gracious enough to take us over there. And then Richard Santulli called me, and he said, you know, we're trying to build this rehab center down in San Antonio with private money, and would you help us raise it? And I said, yeah, sure. And I was sort of, and they only needed $10 million, and I thought that would be really easy to raise, because I raised over $100 million in the past years for the ranch and other stuff, you know. But it's been a bitch, man. We're getting up for close to $5 million now, maybe a little more. But what? And my question for you is why?
I don't know the answer to that. I know that Americans all are deeply concerned about these young men and women, and not only while they're serving, but afterwards. They should be our first priority. I think that Richard Santulli and many others associated with this fund are doing a wonderful job, and I appreciate very much the efforts that you're making, and I'm not polishing the apple here.
I'm not looking for a compliment either, by the way.
You've done a marvelous job, and we've got to stay with it. You know, right off the top of my head, the populist in me, ExxonMobil, I guess, made $36 billion last year. Maybe they could spare a little bit for the men and women who are serving in the military, but it's going to come. Americans are generous. Americans are loving and caring, and I thank you for what you've done. And so it's just, and by the way, we'll work on another. It's about time for another visit, and bring you and Bernard and Charles down. And by the way, that wasn't a very kind comment you made about Charles. He's the least irritable man in America.
Thank you very much, Senator. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
You know, I actually got a check for the Fallen Heroes Fund from President Bush 41 and Barbara Bush.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's
pretty good, huh?
No, that's wonderful, and I'm very grateful that they did. We were glad to give $50,000 from our PAC, and and $5,000 from our personal funds. But we'll continue, and I'll continue to do whatever we can. And by the way, in San Antonio is the burn unit where our soldiers and Marines who are badly burned are taken for treatment, and this is really a difficult. I can't tell you how moving it is to see some of these young people who have been burned so badly, but it's the most modern and up-to-date facility in the world, and so they're getting great treatment, and obviously they deserve more, and thanks for all your efforts. And by the way, could I just mention, I really enjoyed your encounter with Charles Barkley yesterday. He's still the hero of Arizona, and we loved him very much. He's an incredible personality.
I was kind of taken aback at how serious he was, and they're very charming. No, I didn't think he was a moron at all. But I mean, I'm always surprised when somebody comes in and, boy, they're really articulate and honest and
he's very candid, very straightforward. He's not that big a guy. He looks like a big guy standing next to Charles, but in professional basketball, he wasn't that big. He was just tough, and he was very, very smart. And he outsmarted them, and he brought us some of our greatest days when he was with the Phoenix Suns, and we should have beaten the Bulls. It was our destiny to beat the Bulls.
Last night, my wife asked me, Deirdre, Fisher, says to say hello, by the way. She said, what was that conference in Davos, Switzerland, all about? And I said, I think it's just a glorified think tank with a bunch of dilettantes, and any organization that can find time for Angelina Jolie to speak can't be all that serious. But maybe I'm wrong.
Well, one of the things I was there, and one of the things I got out of it was that a number of the Iraqi leaders were there. The leader of their parliament, the guy that's writing the Constitution, and a couple others. And I had very informative meetings with them, getting information from them. There are, in a gathering like that, there's always that kind of glitz and stuff, but there are important people. I had a chance to talk to Bill Gates about nuclear power. I learned more in about 5 minutes talking with him about nuclear power, how we can maybe move forward, than all this reading and studying that I've done. So there are very good parts of it. There's also that other side of it that's the kind of glitz and glitter part of it as well. But there's another thing about it. There's a great deal of anti-Americanism in Europe. And when I went, I spent time not apologizing for America, but explaining what America is trying to do. And I think it's important that we counter or at least respond to some of the anti-American rhetoric that's going on, particularly in some parts of Europe.
I was talking with Craig Crawford earlier this morning, and he said about the speech last night, he said, here we have a major American city that has simply disappeared, New Orleans, and it got 6 lines.
Well, it's hard for me to tell the president what his priorities are, but I think the president is fully cognizant of the challenge we still face in New Orleans. I hope we do here in Congress. There's he described it. I listened to Craig on the program this morning. Yeah, a city has disappeared, and a city of great culture, and we've got to, and history, and we've got to do a lot more. But we've also got to do a lot more on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Let's not forget that the Gulf Coast also was devastated in many respects just as badly as the city of New Orleans was, and we've just got a lot more to do. The American people, though, do deserve to see that those funds are spent efficiently, and that's one of the challenges that we face as we go about it. But we did give them some more money at the end of last year, and we need to do a lot more.
I saw this report on the news with Brian Williams that Lisa Myers did about where the money's gone, the billions of dollars they raised from a lot of private money. And talking about the Red Cross, which I've never given any money to the Red Cross, nor would I. But anyway, they have the Red Cross truck driving up and down these deserted streets where these houses have been devastated, passing out ham sandwiches. And then all of the money, almost all of the money that Bill Clinton and Bush 41, God bless both of them, that they raised, that hasn't been dispersed yet. You know why it hasn't been dispersed? Because nobody's asked for it. I mean, how are they supposed to ask for it? What, these poor people supposed to get on their cell phone? I mean, you can't even make that up.
I know it. That's one of the problems, one of the many problems we've had. Susan Collins and Joe Lieberman have been having some hearings about our response to, and FEMA's response to the hurricane at its beginning, and it hadn't been getting quite as much publicity as it deserves, but it's chilling. The absolute inaction, access to all kinds of vehicles and other means of taking care of these people, which were not used. It's the thing that's disturbing about it is not so much that mistakes are made, but mistakes are repeated. And we've had other hurricanes, and we've had other problems, and we don't seem to have learned the lessons from it. But that does not relieve us of the responsibility to efficiently help restore the lives of the people in New Orleans and the Mississippi Gulf Coast who are hurting terribly.
You know, I was watching the speech last night, and as you know, I like Senator John Kerry a lot. And, I mean, he's not going to be president. He's just got to move on past that. But he's a good man. But anyway, I'm sitting there, I'm watching him, and you've got to think that he's sitting there thinking that he could be up there delivering that State of the Union address.
I would have never contemplated that myself.
And that was my question. I can see you up there doing that, you know?
John Kerry's a good friend and a
great
good
guy.
man.
I love him.
And obviously,
but no more.
One always thinks, what would I be saying? What would I be doing?
Yeah.
But the trick is not to second guess. In other words, I think that the president gave a good speech last night. I think he emphasized the importance of victory in Iraq. I think he surfaced the problem in Iran, and for me, for us, any of us, frankly, to say, okay, I would have done this, I would have done that. Not sure that that's real appropriate.
Pretty harsh rhetoric on Iran, though, wasn't it?
Well, it's the greatest threat we've faced, a single threat since the end of the Cold War, I think, and it's very, very difficult, and there's no good options, and we're going to need a whole lot of luck this time to prevent some kind of really difficult dilemma here, because you saw that the president of Iraq and his attitude and his statements when he came to the UN. I mean, these are.
Iran.
Yeah, Iran. I mean, these are. You talk about extremists.
Crazy people.
I mean, they are, and put nuclear weapons in their hands, and their statement that he made in New York, and they continue to make about the dedication and the eradication of the State of Israel. This is a serious, serious challenge. I think the president is handling it right by working with our European friends, and but this is going to be a lot tougher before it's over.
Of course, I do need to remind you, Senator McCain, you said the same thing about Iraq. Of course, you were wrong about that.
Yeah, first of all, I don't know how wrong I was, although I wouldn't be surprised, but I said that Iraq we needed to go into Iraq, and I still think so, even if there was no weapons of mass destruction, because I'm convinced that the sanctions were eroding. There's a huge scandal they call oil for food that was going on in the UN, that we know more about it now, and if he were still in power, he'd be trying to acquire and use weapons of mass destruction. Have we made serious mistakes in handling this war? Absolutely, and we paid a very, very heavy price in American blood and treasure. As you know, I kept saying we needed more troops. Now I'm worried about too rapid a troop withdrawal.
Y'all get any rain in Arizona yet, Phoenix?
I think they got a little, but we're back in a drought. We're back in a drought, and it's serious, and I think that climate change is real, and I think that we've got to address it, and we're going to have to do some things to try to stop these greenhouse gas emissions before it's too late.
I mean, Lake Powell was started to sort of come back.
Yep, started to come back, but then we got no rain. I don't know if you saw an article in the New York Times a couple of days ago where scientists are now saying where's the tipping point on climate change, where some of this stuff is irreversible. It's very, very concerning, and we've got to act, and one of the immediate solutions is the use of nuclear power.
I know, well, I hope you get some rain at least. I know it doesn't solve the thing in the long. I hear you. It doesn't solve the long-term problem, but short-term it might.
I hope we do. I think you agree. It's still the most beautiful place in the world.
It is. Thanks, Senator.
Thanks, pal.
Senator John McCain here on the Army Submarine Program. It is 10 minutes, and I'll tell you on.
But our enemies and our friends can be certain. The United States will not retreat from the world, and we will never surrender to evil.
If you're in accounting, you know that the new year can bring with it a considerable number of new projects. Specifically, Charles, you're in cleanup and tax work. Are you aware of that?
No, I wasn't.
Well, you pay attention then.
Okay, I'm going to listen.
In fact, this can be one of your busiest times as you cope with all the deadlines that have to be met. Why not start the new year off right and call account temps? They can send you highly skilled professionals who are experienced in SEC reporting, tax accounting, and reconciliations, just to name a few areas of specialization. So go in, get the job done. In fact, you should consider Account Temps an extension of your own accounting and finance department. Account Temps is a division of Robert Half International and a leader in specialized financial staffing. They have more than 15 locations in the New York, New Jersey area. Call Accountemps today at 800-803-8367 or check them out online at accountemps.com. If you're a corporate executive in the tri-state area, you should find out more about solar energy with DomeTech Solar. Solar energy is great for the environment, your company's image, and actually makes smart business sense. Financial returns of over 25% are being realized by a lot of DomeTech Solar Fortune 500 customers. That's a great investment. Amazingly, New Jersey is the second largest solar market in the country, behind California. It offers the best corporate solar energy rebates in the nation. Hundreds of millions of dollars. You know that? DomeTech Solar has installed some of the largest systems in the United States right here in this area for companies like the New Jersey American Water Company, Johnson & Johnson, a bunch of other folks. They'll walk you through the paperwork if you get the money and put the stuff in for you, and you can fix your electricity costs for the next 30 years. Sound like you should be getting in touch with DomeTech Solar in Edison, New Jersey. That's what I'm talking about.
All right, sweetie, your friends will be here any minute. I put the poker chips on the table, and your cigars are in the humidor. Did I make you a sandwich or anything before I go visit my mom? Don't worry about coming with me. Okay, well...
She'll appreciate the thought you put into it, and you might appreciate our overnight shipping. So make her Valentine's Day with a gift from Build-A-Bear.com.
Hey, this is Tanya Roberts, and guess what? The new year is here, and it's time for you and that special person to start making those pesky resolutions. What are you going to be doing? Lose weight, stop smoking, clean out your closet? Well, I have a resolution idea that I know you can keep. Spend 3 days and 2 nights at a Las Vegas strip resort and don't pay a dime for it. It's all part of the grand opening of Las Vegas' newest 5-star resort, Tahiti Village. Start off the new year right. Recharge those romantic batteries with a fantastic second honeymoon package. Call now and we'll also throw in tickets to a hot show right on the strip. To receive the high roller treatment and your complimentary second honeymoon, call 877-33-GO-WIN. That's 877-33-GO-WIN. For the time of your life, 877-33-GO-WIN. Call now.
It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Touchdown Steelers! And the Seattle Seahawks. So that play back onto the leg. Slings it over the middle. And they're going to Detroit for Super Bowl 40. And you'll hear it all this Sunday, February 5th at 6:30 p.m. with our coverage underway at 4. Listen to all the play-by-play with Marv Albert and Boomer Esiason here on your flagship station for the NFL, The Fan, Sports Radio 66, WFAN, New York.
I'm Debbie Drive-By with the Toyota Fan Highway Patrol, brought to you by Destination Maternity. What do belly dancing, a huge selection of maternity fashion, and mom-to-be massages have in common? Destination Maternity. Experience the new maternity store at 57 in Madison. Opens Wednesday, February 1st. Over at the 59th Street Bridge, inbound, lower level has a disabled truck. It's blocking the left lane. Upper level, definitely the way to go. 30-minute delays over at the Holland and Lincoln tunnels. 20 at the George Washington Bridge. In Bergen County, eastbound 80 after Route 17, the right lane is closed in the local lanes. There's a serious accident and an accident investigation, so police, everyone's on the scene. Local lanes delays go back to the Garden State Parkway. The Imus in the morning forecast, partly cloudy skies today, maybe a passing shower, high in the mid-40s, but 36 degrees under fair skies in Central Park. I'm Debbie Drive-By with the Toyota Fan Highway Patrol.
Interest rate may be subject to change after first payment. Payment rate is not interest rate. APR 4.99. Rate may not be available at time of commitment or closing. Term of payment 40 years. 20% down. Address 1719 Route 10 East, Parsippany, New Jersey. Home Bank LLC. Licensed mortgage broker. New Jersey Department of Banking and Insurance. Home Funding Group. Registered mortgage broker. Connecticut and New York Department of Banking. Loans arranged through third-party provider.
If you are paying more than 1.25% for your mortgage, grab a piece of paper and pencil and write down our phone number. 877-345-CASH. I'm Howard Olmsted from Home Bank LLC and the Home Funding Group. I'm here to introduce you to the low lowest payment rate you've ever heard of. 1.25% for purchase or refi. $500,000 will cost you only $1,324. You've got to call us now. 877-345-CASH. If you have rental properties, we can offer you a payment rate as low as 1.65% with no income verification and unlimited cash out. You owe it to yourself. You've got to call us now. 877-345-CASH.
Mavis Discount Tire has been saving you money for over 50 years. Now you can get price quotes and make reservations online at MavisTire.com. That's right. Select from thousands of name brand tires, then make a reservation, all from the comfort of your own computer. MavisTire.com. While online, check out high-performance favorites like the Dunlop Dureza DZ101 and the SP Sport Tire line. For enhanced SUV performance, find great prices on the Grand Trek AT20. Shop online. Compare prices online. Then set up a reservation at over 50 area locations. Go to MavisTire.com or call 1-800-4-TRACTION. That's 1-800, the number 4, then Traction.
Tim and Jan each own a business. Very different businesses. And they both just opened custom business banking accounts from Wachovia. For very different custom business banking accounts. That's because, unlike other banks, Wachovia lets you choose the banking services that best fit your needs. From free online bill pay to no monthly service fee money market accounts. And even though Tim and Jan don't bank the same, they do share a couple of things in common. Neither has to keep a minimum balance or pay a maintenance fee for the next 12 months. Plus, they have unlimited access to their accounts online, by phone, or at thousands of Wachovia financial centers and ATMs. That's custom business banking at Wachovia. How satisfied are you with your bank?
Open your custom business banking account today. Stop by a Wachovia Financial Center or visit wachovia.com/business. Offer good for new business accounts only. Account and transaction-related fees may apply. Wachovia Bank N.A. and Wachovia Bank of Delaware N.A. are members FDIC.
Yeah, it sounds typical for a software company, but we started in the garage. Actually, the servers weren't in the garage, and I was in the kitchen drinking lots of coffee.
Chris Johnson, founder and CEO, Priasoft.
Maybe it was all that coffee, but I was definitely nervous going out on my own. You leave a cush job with expense accounts, a nice office, but I felt boxed in there. I wanted to build something, and I found a $700 million email market. But unfortunately, dreams don't pay the overhead. American Express saw the opportunity I saw. It really helped make sure my humble beginnings didn't last forever.
Being open-minded is how small business owners approach their business and how American Express serves them. Open to giving Chris the financing he needed 2 years before his bank would. To see how American Express can help your small business, visit open.com or call 1-800-NOW-OPEN.
A few brown bag lunches here and there, but we're making a good run at it.
This is the Imus in the Morning radio program on WFAN New York. It is 8 o'clock Eastern Time for the headline stories. The State of the Union address and reaction thereto. President Bush taking the occasion of the 5th State of the Union speech to highlight global security and economic security. Addressing Congress and the country, Mr. Bush proclaimed, among other things, that the state of the American Union is strong, and he vowed to make it stronger.
In a complex and challenging time, the road of isolationism and protectionism may seem broad and inviting. Yet it ends in danger and decline.
The president said the U.S. is committed to a historic long-term goal, the end of tyranny in the world. And he said the future security of America depends on that. The president said radical Islam is one of the principal sources of resistance to freedom, adding that terrorists twist the Muslim faith into an ideology of terror and death. And he argued that they want to use Iraq as a safe haven to launch attacks against this country and others.
On September the 11th, 2001, we found that problems originating in a failed and oppressive state 7,000 miles away could bring murder and destruction to our country. Dictatorships shelter terrorists and feed resentment and radicalism and seek weapons of mass destruction.
Also on the president's agenda, America's oil dependence, saying that Americans are addicted to oil.
Really?
As the president addressed last year's non-passage of his Social Security reforms by Congress, Democrats jumped at that and cheered. He went on to say that the problem isn't going away. President also called for an end to bitter partisan bickering, calling for debates to be conducted with civility. Virginia Governor Tim Kaine delivered the Democratic response, saying the White House is guilty of bad management. Kaine said many Americans are feeling abandoned by their government.
The administration is falling behind in other critical areas, preserving the environment, keeping our workplaces safe, protecting family farms, keeping jobs in America.
He sounded like Paul Begala, didn't he? And that eyebrow that boy had going, well, that was freaky.
That was strange. Yeah.
And you know, I was paying about half attention, and Deirdre said, "What's the deal with that eyebrow?" And then you look at it, and the boy looked at it. I mean, the eyebrow's got a mind of its own, doesn't it?
It's independently controlled somewhere else.
I mean, that's a freak show, isn't it?
You'd run the other way if you saw him coming.
I mean, really, that's...
Look at him.
You don't want that boy around the grammar school, do you? Well, that's the governor of Virginia?
Yes, it is.
Cell phone ring, quick.
Holy God. And could be the lamest speech. It sounded like a Paul Begala speech, but one Begala wrote when he was in high school before he actually learned how to write. And the boy can't write, by the way.
You bet he can.
He must dribble, but that's beside the point. Because he can put the words together.
Well-written dribble.
Man, that you could rope that off and charge admission, said the man with the freaky eyebrow.
Look what we got here.
3 minutes after the hour.
The news is sponsored by Newsday. Read Newsday every day.
Good morning, Long Island. Read these stories today only in Newsday. A farewell to Coretta Scott King as towns across Long Island prepare to celebrate Black History Month. Just what does your fifth grader need to know about puberty? It's Battle of the Brews. Pittsburgh and Seattle Beers go head-to-head at your Super Bowl party. For news and information you can't find anywhere else, read Newsday every day.
Newsday every day. Newsday every day.
Can't wait for the big game on Sunday, but dreading the other big game Monday morning, the one where you work and everyone else monkeys around? Not anymore. In this Sunday's Newsday, you'll get the 2006 Career Kickoff Special section filled with jobs from top employers to help you kick off your new career. And if you're an employer tired of hiring the wrong candidates, Newsday's Career Kickoff with CareerBuilder.com is the place to advertise. Newsday's Career Kickoff Special section this Sunday, only in Newsday.
Newsday classified. 843-3000.
I love having my own design firm.
My own clothing store.
My contracting business. But the hours.
Long hours.
50, 60 hours a week.
You work day and night for your business. Now your money can too. With Business Insured Sweep from the Bank of New York, it's the checking account that invests at night to earn 4% annual percentage yield.
I'm just too busy for banking.
It works automatically. After business hours, we sweep cash balances above $15,000 into an interest-earning money market account, and we transfer funds back to checking as needed.
It works as hard as I do.
At the Bank of New York, we're with you every step of the way. Start earning 4% APY on your excess business checking balances. Call 888-LINK-BNY or stop by any branch of the Bank of New York. New Yorkers since 1784. New business insured sweep accounts only. Funds earn interest in an FDIC-insured money market account in accordance with FDIC rules. 4% APY is guaranteed for 3 months from account opening and may vary thereafter. Offer ends March 31st, 2006. The Bank of New York. Member FDIC.
5 minutes after the hour here on the Imus Sort of Morning program. On the radio all over the country and on MSNBC, we have an MSNBC reenactment coming up of an incident that happened to me yesterday when I left the building. And all of Kaplan's butt boys butt girls were over here in the conference room having a big conference of some sort, trying to come up with the next Maury Connie coup. And I was walking out, and it was, at least it amused me, but, you know, obviously made all of them all terrified, you know.
Yeah.
Then we're going to talk with Frank Rich, and Frank was, of course, great friends with Wendy Wasserstein, who was the, not hyperbole, the genius, Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright who died, and just coincidentally we lived in the same building. And I remember when I was telling my wife last night, I said, you know, I used to talk to her in the elevator occasionally, and I didn't know who she was, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just she was funny and friendly. And then I found out, and my wife told me who she was, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And, but God bless her, poor thing, I watched her deteriorate over the years. And it was just heartbreaking. The last time I saw her, she had come out of the building, but was going down the street with a walker. And,
lady.
But anyway, lovely, lovely lady, funny. going to talk with Kelly O'Donnell from the White House in a minute. We have the former President of the United States here, who, by the way, played me in the reenactment of this unfortunate tension convention here at MSNBC headquarters yesterday. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, here with an analysis of last night's presidential address is the former President, Bill Clinton. Good morning, Mr. President.
Thank you, man. Last night was one of the most fascinating, compelling, and completely inspiring evenings I've ever spent in my entire life. I watched the State of the Union address from bed with two Swedish swimsuit models, identical twins, bisexuals, double-jointed. Holy God. And so when the president said the state of our union is strong, I looked down and said, yes, it sure is, Junior. I think he did a great job last night, and both Anya and Anka thought he was just adorable, especially the way he said HIV/AIDS, because it sounded to them like he thought he was at a spelling bee. HIV/AIDS. Moron. I was just glad the judges didn't make him try to spell nuclear. You know, I hate to say it, but I was actually proud of the president's performance. In fact, he did take a page from my book when he introduced that fallen soldier's widow and winked. Man, 43, you sly devil, you are smooth. But still, I think he had a couple of good ideas. I'm not really sure, because, you know, it's a little hard to hear when you have the breasts of two non-English-speaking Nordic nymphos stuck in your ears. Come again? Yes, they did. Repeatedly. There were a few special moments. Senator Barbara Mikulski of Maryland trying to haul her fat ass out of her chair for the 12th standing ovation. That was kind of amusing. And I did enjoy the part when the president addressed Iran directly, like the Iranians were actually watching him instead of American Idol like everybody else. And I thought something was said about hiring another 70,000 high school math teachers. I don't know. I was too busy working on my own math problem, trying to see how many times one could go into two, if you know what I mean. Seemed to me that the theme was Hopeful Society, which included an energy initiative. Well, I don't know about the rest of society, but I was pretty hopeful last night and put an awful lot of energy into my own initiative. And believe me, between the three of us, we could have powered a Buick LeSabre a whole lot more efficiently than burning switchgrass and wood chips. All in all, a very successful evening. And so just like the president took time to single out a few people for praise and appreciation, I'd just like to say, Anya, Anka, Gudskalof Minskonflickus. Yeah, oofda. And I think I might have left my underwear in your apartment. Can you check for me under the radiator?
Former President of the United States, Bill Clinton. Let's go now to the White House. And one of the White House correspondents, NBC News, Kelly O'Donnell.
Good morning, Don.
Actually, I guess you're kind of David, what's his name, Gregory's, you're it's Hammond and you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So how are you?
I'm very well, a little tired, I will admit. We, of course, were all up very late watching the speech and get here very early and digesting it all and reading about it, and there was a lot in it. And
what time did you get there?
I get here at 6:30 in the morning.
What time did you get up?
I get up about 5. Went to bed a little after midnight. Not bad.
Well, that's what Charles and I did. Yeah. We're not bitching about it and whining like you are.
I didn't think I reached the point of whining. I was simply stating, you asked how I was. I gave you an assessment of my state this morning. I'm a 7 or 8 hour type. I like to be rested.
Why am I being rude to you, by the way?
God knows. You're cranky.
Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize, and with apologies to Larry the Cable Guy, Lord, I apologize for that, too. So let's see. Where the president's going to go on now one of these idiotic 3-day trips around the country to try to sell this hokum or what?
Well, this is part of the tradition that is the State of the Union. After the big address, the president then...
Actually, I shouldn't say, I'm going to interrupt you, I shouldn't say hokum because I said to my wife, I said, you know, there's not much, other than the war, there's not much I disagree with him about. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, it was a speech where a lot of Americans, I'm sure, can find things that they liked in it, and then certainly there's plenty of room for debate. He certainly is a person who believes strongly what he says, and I think the hopeful society idea is something many Americans can feel good about. And it's tradition.
You're drunk.
Oh, come on.
Okay, go ahead.
But really, no, I mean, if you want to call upon a leader to be an inspiring figure, he certainly tried to do that. There's plenty of room for people to debate the policies and to critique what he had to say.
He did well in delivering the speech.
Pretty well. He had one, I thought, notable funny moment, and he, of course, needed to rely on humor a little bit because not everybody in the room was in his court. He was referencing the entitlements, which were a problem. He certainly sees it that way, and he talked about two people turning 60 this year, two of his dad's favorite people, referring to himself and President Clinton, and that got a good laugh in the room.
That was a rough crowd last night, man.
It was tough, although I don't think anyone was surprised by that. He's had a very difficult year that ended in 2005. A lot of his legislative agenda did not reach fruition, but he also had the success that he certainly pointed to of John Roberts and Justice Alito, who I'm sure had a head-spinning day. He was sworn in and then sitting in the House chamber and looking around. There was one shot I noticed on television where just after Justice Alito entered the chamber, it seemed he was sort of taking it all in. And after all that he's been through, meeting senators and not knowing what the outcome would be, and I'm sure it's been a very personally challenging time, to be in that moment must have been a little out-of-body experience for him. So that was a good thing for the president, certainly.
Did you see the Democratic response?
I did.
What's up with that dude's eyebrow? Man, that's freaky, isn't it? Huh? What the hell is going on there?
Well, I'm a resident of the Commonwealth of Virginia, so I will only say nice things about our new.
Well, no, I'm sure he's fine, but man, that's a weird-looking dude. Holy God.
You know, I thought for a person who has not been on the national stage, to have to follow the president is a very high order, and he delivered it cleanly and did not seem nervous. I can only imagine he had a belly full of butterflies. But
how are they picked? The Democratic leadership decides who's going to do it?
Yes, and in this case, I think it's interesting that they did not take one of the more well-known and potential 2008-type names. They didn't go to Senator Reid or Congresswoman Pelosi, who did sort of the tag team response last year.
Yeah, that was really unctuous.
And so I think people viewed it as he is a Democrat who has succeeded in a red state. Virginia's typically red.
Yeah.
And he's a moderate voice, and that he would perhaps...
He is a bizarre-looking individual. Holy God. He's like that guy. Who was that guy, Charles, that there was some weirdo who had the phony red wig and the fake eyebrows. Who was that?
Oh, David Ferry, years ago in New Orleans.
From the Kennedy assassination deal. Remember
case.
David Ferry, Kelly?
He was portrayed by...
Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci.
Right. You are a genius, Kelly.
Yes.
Well, that's who he looked like. He looked like that. He looked like Joe Pesci playing David Ferry in the Garrison movie. Or the hell.
Well, this is certainly a rite of passage for Tim Kaine. Not only did he do the State of the Union, but he is being subjected to your critique this morning. He is now a national figure, to be sure.
I'm sure he's happy. Well, I should talk sitting there this idiotic cowboy hat on, which is made by Resistol, I'd like to point out. Anyway, thank you very much, Kelly. Kelly O'Donnell, who is the White House correspondent, along with David Gregory for NBC News. It's 1:15. So yesterday, see, we have a... I don't know what kind of relationship we have with MSNBC. I have a great relationship with Rick Kaplan, I happen to like. And an outstanding relationship with some of the folks on the 52nd floor over there at 30 Rock. I guess there's only one person on the 52nd floor, isn't there? But other than that, I mean, it doesn't mean much to me, other than... but we get along great with Randy and Amy and all the crew. And, of course, Janine and all the makeup Nazis, you know.
Right.
But a number of people in the building hate me and hate us. Oh, hate may be a strong word, but they...
No, it's not.
It's probably not.
No.
Accurate. So they have a conference room back here. As you leave this is a gigantic studio. It's about the size of a football field, half the size. And as you leave the building, just before you get to the door where the guards are, there's a conference room on the right, where they have these big strategy meetings, and they get all of the Kaplan's butt boys and butt girls, these morons, and again they are. They get them in there, and they have these meetings, and, you know, they're trying to come up with the next Morricone coup, or, you know, some Tucker Carlson disaster. So as I'm leaving and I leave at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I go get in the car, and I go back over to the station. So I'm walking out, and just as I get to the door, and by the way, we have a reenactment for those of you watching MSNBC in which Bill Clinton plays me. So I'm walking out with my briefcase, and I'm walking fairly slow, and the door opens to the conference room. If you're watching MSNBC, Bill Clinton's playing me. The conference room door opens, and out pour these, Mark the Mole, he's Kaplan's chief butt boy, and then the rest of these folks, and they instantly all gather in these, I wish you could see this, y'all, on the radio. They all gather in these little clusters and pretend to be, I swear to God this happened. They turn their back to me, these bastards, and they all pretend to be talking to one another. It was the most, so I purposely slowed down so that the bastards would have to stand there. And, they've been in a 2-hour meeting. What the hell is left to say to each other,
Nothing.
Nothing. So they're all there in these little clusters. Now, wouldn't you think they like CBS executives, like, everybody from Hollander on down, they would say, hey, whether they like you or not.
Sure, just like, they'd fake it.
Exactly.
Hey, good job with Barkley this morning, bro. You're the man, bro. He was funnier, but you were funnier.
They would say hi, or they'd say, how's it go? Anything. But they all immediately turn their back, these...
Oh, my God, it's him.
Exactly. There's all of them in there fighting over the stern of the Titanic. Try to get this bastard into an iceberg as quickly as possible.
I forgot my papers in that room. Hold on.
Say, talk to me.
And so they're all there with there were 2 or 3 little clusters. Yeah. They're all talking to one another. Meanwhile, there's still, the room's full of these bastards. The door, and so some of them, there's no other area. There's no room to form any other clusters. So they whirl around and go back in the, like groundhogs that have seen whatever.
Oh my God, hide me.
He's just standing there. What are we going to do?
God, he's so slow.
Just talk to me. Say anything.
Push him out the door.
407 years ago,
ring my cell phone, quick.
The continent, a new nation.
Quick.
Look, he's got a wet spot in his groin.
19 minutes after the hour.
Stab me quick.
I haven't said a morning program. No. You can't make it up.
That's the first time you ever noticed that, Chief?
Pardon me?
That's the first time you ever noticed that?
Well, it's the first time it's ever so obvious.
Yes, it's conspicuous.
Yeah, I mean...
They haven't got their method down yet.
They're not cool yet.
They don't know how to do it.
No, they don't. They're not cool at all, which is the reason that they're in the shape they're in. Because they're just
They don't even know how to ignore people right.
Yeah, my new favorite group, Bon.
This ain't a song for the broken-hearted. A silent prayer for faith departed. I ain't gonna keep up the face in the crowd. You're gonna hear my voice when I shout it out loud. It's my
ago, the U.S. Olympic team won more medals than ever before. Since then, they've been doing one thing: winning. Next Friday, America sends its best team ever to Torino, Italy for the 2006 Olympic Winter Games.
Take out the bronze and sweep the medal!
More world champions than ever before. The 2006 Olympic Winter Games begin Friday, February 10th on the networks of NBC.
Gold medal, USA.
Thought about your liver lately? Well, how are you feeling? A little run down? Sluggish? Could be those impurities in your system. Most of what you consume or inhale passes through your liver. It's your body's main filter. Keep it clean from impurities in your diet and environment with Liverite Liberade, the all-natural dietary supplement that aids and supports liver function. Take it daily for better energy, better quality of life. You'll find Liverite in the vitamin section of your drug or health store or leading mart, or go to liverite.com.
Imus! A sense of connectedness. We all crave it in the deepest parts of our souls. And when you meet someone who sees you and loves you passionately for who you really are, it's almost indescribable.
We first met, we hugged, and it was like electricity with us.
It was something so amazing.
At eHarmony, we match singles on the 29 dimensions of compatibility that create that indescribable sense of connectedness. That's why more eHarmony matches result in marriage. And that's why if you're looking for the love of your life, you owe it to yourself to log on to eHarmony. And if you do it today, you'll get our new compatibility profile, a fascinating look at the type of person with whom you're going to be most compatible.
Once I saw the profile, I was very, very surprised that they could hit the nail that closely to the head.
They figure out you, and then they go out and they say, well, this person's going to work better for you.
Get your compatibility profile, a $50 value, free when you log on to eHarmony.com today.
Don't miss the final day of Sleepy's incredible 2-for-1 bonus sale. Sleepy's knows there's nothing better than getting double what you pay for. That's why right now, when you buy any Sealy Posturepedic, Certa Perfect Sleeper, or Simmons Beauty Rest mattress at Sleepy's everyday low price, they'll throw in the matching box spring as a bonus. That's right. Get the box spring absolutely free with the purchase of any Sealy Posturepedic, Certa Perfect Sleeper, or Simmons Beauty Rest mattress. If you need a new mattress, now is the time to buy. And ask about Sleepy's great payment options. Finance your purchase for up to 24 months interest-free. That's 0% interest until 2008. See store for details. So hurry into one of nearly 400 convenient Sleepy showrooms for Sleepy's, the Mattress Professional 2-for-1 bonus sale, and get the mattress you've always wanted at a price you've only dreamed of. For a Sleepy's location near you, call 1-800-SLEEPYS. It's the final day. Sleepy's, the Mattress Professional's 2-for-1 bonus sale. Don't miss it.
Why spend more than you have to on your life insurance? Did you know that term life insurance rates have fallen over 60% in the last 10 years? I'm Byron Udell, founder of AccuQuote. At AccuQuote, we monitor the rates, features, and financial strength of hundreds of life insurance products. For example, a healthy 40-year-old can protect his family with $500,000 of 10-year level term for less than $20 a month. Female rates are even lower. And don't forget to ask us about the new term life policies that guarantee your money back even if you don't die. Since 1986, we've helped tens of thousands of people just like you save a fortune on their life insurance. Why not find out how much you can save? Write down this number and call today for your free quote. 1 5-minute call is all it takes. Call 800-500-2171 or visit us at AccuQuote.com. 800-500-2171. That's 800-500-2171. Rates, policy forms, and availability vary by state.
I'm Debbie Drive-By with the Toyota Fan Highway Patrol, brought to you by Charles Schwab. When it comes to investing, it all comes down to this. Who can you talk to and who will actually listen? Talk to Chuck, Charles Schwab, 1-800-4-SCHWAB. In Bergen County, New Jersey, eastbound on 80 after 17, all lanes cleared. In the local lanes, accident investigation continues on the shoulder there. In Hudson County, southbound 1 and 9 at the Tonelli Circle, accident blocking 1 lane. And also westbound on 3 at the Hackensack River Bridge, we have a crash taken out a lane on the span. Eastbound traffic is heavy between Route 46 and 21. Back in the 5 boroughs, westbound LIE stop and go from Casino Boulevard to Woodhaven Boulevard because of an earlier crash. And southbound Harlem River FDR Drive heavy from the Tri-Borough to 63rd Street. 30 at the Holland, 40 at the Lincoln, 5 to 10 at the George Washington Bridge. The Imus in the morning forecast, partly cloudy skies today, high temperatures in the mid-40s. Currently 36 degrees under fair skies in Central Park. I'm Debbie Drive-By with the Toyota Fan Highway Patrol.
26 after the hour here on the Imus in the morning program on the radio all over the country.
Debbie
and on MSNBC. Of course, the truth is that no matter what they did, these executives here, you know, coming out of their conference room, if they said something to me, anything other than, hi, Imus, how are you, or whatever,
and keep walking,
and just keep walking, I'd have made fun of that.
Oh,
so it's
no, they're dead either way.
They're dead either way.
Yeah.
And but they're not cool enough to know what to do. That's the problem. I mean, you know, obviously there's some people know how to handle me.
They need a lookout.
Pardon me?
They need a guard, a lookout. Somebody give them the high sign.
See, that was the thing that was stupid. That's a moronic they are.
Hey, in there, here he comes.
I mean, I leave the almost the exact same time within a minute every day.
They need like an alarm system. When
Code word.
When the alarm goes off, everybody's safe. They can come out of their holes.
So I was watching Jamie Foxx and that Unpredictable special he did on NBC, and he had Mary Blige on, and then I was pointing out to Charles and the president here, the number 1 and 2 albums in the country are Jamie Foxx's Unpredictable and her album.
Wow.
Pretty heavyweight. She's not that great, though, I didn't think. But do you, Lou, or do you like her?
Marginal.
Yeah.
He's great, though.
He's unbelievable. And then Carrie Underwood.
All right now.
The kid who won that American Idol thing, the country singer. She's got the number 1 country album, the number 1 country song, Jesus Take the Wheel. Did you download that yet for me?
We found it. We're burning it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then she's got the number 4 pop album.
Wow. She's number 1 with a bullet in my heart, I'll tell you that.
She's cute, isn't she?
Cute.
You know, Chernoff was here this morning. He's over he runs both FAN and he's trying to launch that new...
he's trying to do something.
But new K-Rock, which is now something else, with David Lee Roth, who sucked when he was with Van Halen, and it's dreadful radio, and he's a
mess.
What happened?
He's a
Sammy
mess,
Hagar was busy?
And he's a loudmouth punk, so... But anyway, he's over there trying to get that to work, and he gives me this new Gillette Fusion razor. And did you ever try that Gillette razor with the one with a little battery in it?
Certainly do. Use it, yeah.
That's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's comfortable.
Well, now Gillette, we're big fans of Gillette because they're a good sponsor, good company, make great stuff, and been great to the ranch. And now they have this Gillette Fusion razor. I don't think it's available yet, but it has a new shaving surface on the front and another blade on the back. Are you aware of that?
No, I was not aware of that. I knew they had this new 5-blade front, so...
And a little battery that comes with it. As for guys who have mustaches and goatees and stuff like you guys.
Oh, I thought maybe it was to shave your back.
I guess you could do that, too. So, you probably could do that, too. So, I'll let you know when they're available.
All right.
Michelle over at Gillette sent them over, so thanks to her. Well, I have one. Did you get one? You don't have one.
No, I do not.
No, you're not going to get that one.
I am not. I understand that.
And I heard Bill White from the Intrepid Fallen Heroes. I don't know where we are there, but we're getting close to the 10 million, apparently.
Great.
And a lot of folks kicked in, and thank you very much. And the greening, the cleaning, window cleaner and all-purpose cleaner, which is completely non-toxic, and which they use in leading hospitals, including the Hackensack University Medical Center, is something you should have in your home. Because toxic cleaning products with ammonia and all of the other stuff in it, I can't begin to tell you the number of diseases that they cause and contribute to. And ammonia, of course, being a listed respiratory irritant.
Sure.
And it's insane to use any of that stuff in your home when you don't have to. So if it works in hospitals, it's obviously going to work in your home. And it sells for the same as all of the leading products do, the Windex or any of that stuff. Comes in a 32-ounce, fairly attractive bottle, actually. And you can order it at imusranchfoods.com. It's all one word, imusranchfoods.com. And 100% of the company's profits, after-tax profits, go to the Imus Cattle Ranch for kids with cancer. They're selling thousands of bottles of this stuff, and it's great. You can order 1, 2 bottles. If you just want to see, there's no smell. It has a very light citrus smell to it.
Very pleasant, yeah.
Because it's completely non-toxic.
Yeah.
And it contributes to your kids' asthma and yours, to learning disabilities, to attention deficit disorder. It's insane, the effect in a closed environment in your home that toxic cleaning agents have. So you go to imusranchfoods.com and order this stuff. and the money goes to charity. So everybody wins, plus you win. They have the window cleaner and the all-purpose cleaner coming soon, the dishwashing detergent and hand washing stuff. ImusRanchFoods.com. It's 32 at the hour. We'll talk to Frank Rich next.
Not interest rate. APR 4.99 rate may not be available at time of commitment or closing. Term of payment 40 years. 20% down. Address 1719 Route 10 East, Parsippany, New Jersey. Home Bank LLC. Licensed mortgage broker. New Jersey Department of Banking and Insurance. Home Funding Group. Registered mortgage broker. Connecticut and New York Department of Banking. Loans arranged through third-party provider.
If you are paying more than 1.25% for your mortgage, grab a piece of paper and pencil and write down our phone number. 877-345-CASH. I'm Howard Olmsted from Home Bank LLC and the Home Funding Group. I'm here to introduce you to the lowest payment rate you've ever heard of. 1.25% for purchase or refi. $500,000 will cost you only $1,324. You've got to call us now. 877-345-CASH. If you have rental properties, we can offer you a payment rate as low as 1.65% with no income verification and unlimited cash out. You owe it to yourself. You've got to call us now. 877-345-CASH.
We're talking with Paul Dow from Timeshares Only. Paul, I hear you've just come out with this great new kit that you're giving away?
Yeah, it's called the Top 10 Secrets to Buying and Selling Timeshares, and it's just a phenomenal resource for anybody looking to sell their timeshare.
Well, tell us about it.
Well, first of all, it tells you what your timeshare is really worth.
Uh-huh.
And more importantly, how to sell it for top dollar. Well, there are thousands of people out there just waiting to buy your timeshare, but you sort of need to learn the secrets to getting the most cash for it.
And the kit is free.
Yes, but it's only a limited time offer, so you need to call our toll-free number now, and we'll rush it right out.
Well, sounds like a pretty sweet thing for really anybody who owns a timeshare.
It really is. It could make you thousands of dollars.
Well, okay, the top 10 secrets to buying and selling timeshares. Here's the phone number to call. It's 1-800-600-3037. Again, that's 1-800-600-3037. 1-800-600-3037.
Attention, men. You're men. And as men, you like to make things. Yes, nothing makes you feel more alive than the visceral excitement of pounding nails and handling cold steel. Well, men, this Valentine's Day is your chance to show that you're men by making a bear. That's right. A bear, or a pink poodle, or a soft, fluffy koala bear. Take out the two best tools known to man. Type in Build-A-Bear.com and put those meaty paws to work on making a stuffed animal online. And in only a matter of man-minutes, you will have the perfect Valentine's Day gift for your woman. Because nothing feels more special than something you've made with your bare hands. And nothing says, I love you, woman, more than a soft little cuddly kitty with your personal message that says, I love you, woman. Go to Build-A-Bear.com or call 1-866-460-BEAR to get your man hands on the perfect gift. Build-A-Bear Workshop.
Former Nesquik powder users are telling us why they switched to rich chocolate Ovaltine.
Out of habit, I would buy Nesquik because we grew up on it. Back then, nobody paid that much attention to what kids were eating and drinking. Today, you've got to pay closer attention to nutrition. Recently, there have been Ovaltine commercials that emphasize the vitamins and minerals. We'll go with the Ovaltine. My kids like it because it's chocolate. And to me, it's a better product because it focuses on vitamins and minerals.
Ovaltine. Try it for the nutrition. Keep buying it for the taste.
More Ovaltine, please.
In the game of life, your credit score can make all the difference in the world. The Smith family is going for a home loan. The referees are reviewing their credit score. Wouldn't you like to know your credit score before you apply for credit? Now you can. Log on to freecreditreport.com and get your credit score and credit report online for free.
Upon further review, the loan is approved.
Get your free credit report and score with enrollment and triple advantage at freecreditreport.com. That's freecreditreport.com.
36 past the hour here on the Imus Morning program on the radio all over the country and on MSNBC. We're running behind, and Frank Rich is on hold, and we have to go to Frank in a minute here. But I'm irritated with Frank anyway because we couldn't get a hold of him yesterday when we wanted to talk to him.
Correct.
So with apologies to Frank, we're just backed up.
Sure.
But and then we got bogged down with the expose of the rodents here at the management rodents here at MSNBC. And by the way, I saw the chief rat slinking around over there a few minutes ago. I mean, these people are just unbelievable. Anyway, please welcome to the Imus the Morning program, just ahead of Frank Frisch from the New York Times, over from the Archdiocese, Cardinal Egan. Good morning, Cardinal Egan.
Good morning, God bless. Well, I'm Mr. Moore.
Yeah.
On behalf of the Archdiocese of New York, I'd like to express my sincere condolences to the King family on the loss of a lovely woman, BJ's, lovely woman, the matriarch of the civil rights movement, Coretta Scott King. Her death, a somewhat inauspicious beginning, I'm Mr. Moore, to Black History Month. Her death and the fact that the biggest movie at the box office this past weekend was Big Mama's House Part 2, BJ's. Not exactly what Dr. King and Malcolm X were looking for.
No.
Though at least Mrs. King died peacefully in her sleep, unlike Malcolm X's lovely wife, who was killed after being set on fire by one of their own grandchildren. So congratulations, Mr. Moore, to the King family for not toasting Grandma, BJ's. Flipping disgrace. McCord!
Yes, Your
McCord, get the finger out of your nose.
I'm sorry, Your
Appalachian a-hole, you answer this.
I didn't even know that.
It's February, a leap year.
But excuse me?
February, a leap year, you moron, you.
Is February a leap year?
That's the question.
Would be a leap month.
Well, go find out, will you? Come back and leap on this, you round-nosed misfit, you be Jesus. And further congratulations, Mr. Moore, to former basketball star Charles Barkley for finally breaking the colour barrier right here in the Imus Namor program, BG's. And for speaking out on behalf of the blacks in America. Now that he's made it, it's commendable that Barkley reaches out to help fellow African Americans in every way possible. With the glaring exception of marrying them, BG's, a damn whiny hypocrite. I did happen to see Barkley sitting there, right next to Grand Wizard McCord himself, BG's. McCord looked about as comfortable as a fella sitting in the waiting room of an abortion clinic, BG's. Jim Crow loving creepy. Let me just tell you what'll happen first before McCord ever has a black man over to his home for dinner and drinks.
Yeah.
The I-Man will be a contestant on the next Dancing with the Stars, BG's. You polio-looking pussy, BG's. Do me a favor, Mr. Moore, just for laughs. On the count of 3. Say Coretta Scott King quickly 3 times. 1, 2, 3, go. Go on ahead. Let's hear it, fella. You stuttering prick, you. Now get your heads down, you heathen bastards. Let us pray. No, he couldn't do it. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Yes.
This lame bit to be over, we want the most. Lord, hear our prayer. Oh, Lord, we saw Bush during the State of the Union, had his eyes on the First Lady's box. Let's pray he does more than just look at it, so we have no more Iraq. Be Jesus. Lord, hear our prayer. Let's hear it. God, thanks. Lord, please, spare us the President lecturing us, especially on education, when everybody knows he's the dumbest bastard in the nation. Lord, hear our prayer. And please, Lord, stop the rolling eyes and looks of boredom by the snotty Hillary Rodham. The tuna-licking twat with the huge cottage cheese bottom. Be Jesus. Lord, hear our prayer. Come on ahead.
Almighty, no.
And good luck. And, Lord, good luck to goofy Judge Alito and goodbye to Roe versus Wade. But save us from stupid hoes having babies every time they get laid. Lord, hear our prayer.
Lord, hear our prayer.
And finally, Lord, we pray that the state of the I-Man's union with his wife is not good. Because we know this old prune ain't putting up any kind of wood, BJ's. Lord, hear our prayer. God forgive me. Amen. Which doesn't belong and why?
Oh, I just parked at the end.
Which doesn't belong and why?
Yeah.
A, Boston Massacre hero Crispus Attucks. B, Civil War hero Frederick Douglass.
Yeah.
C, boxing hero Jack Johnson. Which doesn't belong and why?
I would say Jack Johnson.
This was my second Olympics. I was also in Athens in 2004. So, I saw firsthand the last-minute rush that the country had to go through to be ready for opening ceremonies. But I'm really impressed at how well things are going here so far. When I arrived up here, it was still a gigantic work in progress. But by opening ceremonies, everything was just in place, and it was perfect.
Were you at the opening ceremonies?
I was not, because I had to work until late that night, so I caught the very end of the opening ceremonies on television. I worked 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. most days, so I get to see the events at my venue, but that's about it.
Yeah, I watched the opening ceremonies, and I was I had one thought. I was just happy I was not there, because it just seemed enormously tedious. But did you see any of it, Charles?
Enormously tedious, yes.
Okay, what do you make of Bodie Miller running 5th in the downhill?
Yeah, well, everybody really had their sights set on Bodie Miller, and he came in 5th. He was only 2 seconds behind the person who came in first, who was someone from France. And, but, a lot of people around here are saying that he, only talk the talk if you can walk the walk, which is basically what he couldn't really live up to. So the press is pretty much tearing him apart here. I know he's been wandering around Sastrere, which is where I'm at, and going around to the pubs and clubs, but I haven't seen him yet, but I know he's wandering around. But he's still got another shot, so...
How many other events does he have to ski in, do you know?
He has the giant
the giant slalom, I think, and
Right.
that's it. But,
Really?
you know, maybe he can do it, but he even said himself that there was no way he could have come in first, even though it was only 2 seconds. That's a really long time skiing downhill. He said even if he had hurricane force winds right behind him, he wouldn't have been able to make it.
Yeah, all right, Alicia, thank you very much. Alicia Piazzolla from the Olympics in Torino. And she knows less than I do about it, actually. Anyway, it's 12 minutes after the hour. What?
The defending Olympic champion, this is both in the women's Olympic downhill, and the gold medal contender Lindsay Kildaw of the United States, they both crashed during the second day of women's downhill training, and both had to be taken down the mountain on stretchers. So that's... The French woman appeared to be conscious, though no further details of her condition were immediately available.
I wonder if they know anything about the luge.
Because that would be do better, you're suggesting?
No, but I mean...
That's nice. Okay.
Just a thought.
Try the luge. You're horrible.
All right, please welcome officially now the Imus Morning program, speaking of the Olympics. Former lead singer for the Beach Boys, one of the great voices in the history of rock and roll, Brian Wilson. Morning, Brian.
Morning. Hi, I'm Brian Wilson. How are you? I'm fine. Hi, Opie. Hi, Anthony.
Brian.
Remember, tomorrow is Take It Out Tuesday. And you know what that means. Whenever you see a car with a TIT bumper sticker on it, you got to take it out. Except it'll be a little hard to see mine because it tends to shrink in the cold. Well, it's February, which means it's Black History Month. And to celebrate, all the NBC networks are providing wall-to-wall coverage of the Winter Olympics, the whitest sporting event outside of the Hamptons Polo Classic. I don't get it, but there's a lot about the Olympics I don't get. Like how these athletes train for a really long time, and somebody's still got to come in last. And you know that guy's thinking, I could have got high and slept in for the past 4 years and done this good. The opening ceremonies were kind of weird. I never saw a bunch of foreigners with flaming helmets and giant balloons attached to their heads before, except for that time I did bladder acid and went to see the Cirque du Soleil with Van Dyke Parks. First, I didn't understand how the Olympics were invented in Greece, because, like, there's no snow in Greece. But then I realized the ancient Greeks were really into the whole brotherly love thing, which makes sense when you see the luge. I'd have to be really close to a man to have him lie on top of me in a skin-tight suit and hurl down an ice mountain on a sled at 80 miles an hour. Maybe that's the reason why there are more African Americans in the Olympics. Although you would have thought one of Busta Rhymes' bodyguards would have been a natural for the biathlon. You know, pop a cap in a target's ass. Or, for that matter, the vice president. But I guess the cross-country skiing part would have been too much for his heart. Boy, I tell you what, it's a little scary to me if Vice President Cheney couldn't tell the difference between a quail and a 78-year-old millionaire. So FYI, Opie, don't go hunting with the vice president, or you could be picking buckshot out of your ass.
Brian Wilson here on the Imus in the Morning program. It's coming up on 16 after the hour.
My hobbies in life, what? Sex, money, and murder. From your bitch, run up, want money from the crack. Death is a fact. Murder is a hobby. Murder is a hobby. Murder is a hobby that I have to live. I live this is the way I live. Pain and torture, believe in life. Sex, money, and murder. Imus in the morning.
Undetectable, unstoppable, incurable. A biological disease, codenamed Moscow Vector, is killing U.S. government officials one by one. With few clues and little time, Covert One's John Smith must find and defeat the mysterious menace. Robert Ludlum's The Moscow Vector, the exhilarating new novel, now available from St. Martin's Paperbacks. Robert Ludlum's The Moscow Vector. Escape is not an option.
Ever wish upon a star?
Not lately.
Open your Valentine's present.
Wow. You named a star after me?
Let's wish on it. Wish for us.
It's the best Valentine's gift ever. For $54, International Star Registry will record your star name in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office and send you a beautiful gift package. Call the Star Registry at 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com. That's 800-282-3333 or starregistry.com.
Let's wish for forever.
I love you.
Imus!
All right, guys. Valentine's Day tomorrow. You're going to have to freak you out here. I got 3 words for you. The Vermont Teddy Bear Company, call one of their bear counselors right now. 1-800-829-BEAR. They'll help you choose the perfect bear and for your wife, your girlfriend, whatever. And get it delivered tomorrow along with free gourmet chocolate and a gift card in their famous box. Even better, send their bear to the office tomorrow. And, man, you'll be a hero, won't you? And they have various bills. It's easy to order, and it's simple. It makes it look like you care. And it's a free phone call, 1-800-829-BEAR. Costs about the same as a dozen roses, except they'll croak on you in 3 or 4 days. The bear will live forever. The bear will outlive you. So call 1-800-829-BEAR right now, the Vermont Teddy Bear people. 1-800-829-BEAR. If you're a small business, a real estate owner in New York, and you're not banking with North Fork Bank, probably being abused by one of the North Fork's lookalikes. Ever since North Fork started building branches in New York City, banks from all over the globe have been moving into New York, trying to copy North Fork's success. Even the old New York mega banks have been shamed into being a little nicer to their customers, at least the ones they have left. With over 360 branches in New York and New Jersey, John Candace and the folks at North Fork have made it physically convenient to millions of folks. Well, that's important that you can find a bank and all that, but as North Fork's customers will tell you, it's the people inside the bank, not the places that make the difference. Most of North Fork's employees are also owners of the company, and owners just think differently than managers. Stop in and meet one whenever you see a North Fork branch. The experience speaks for itself. North Fork Bank, member FDIC.
Connecticut lottery funds support healthcare to help make us healthier.
Okay, class, everybody please open your books to page 123.
Connecticut lottery funds support schools and libraries to help make us smarter. Connecticut lottery funds support fire and police departments to help make us safer. In fact, since 1972, when the Connecticut Lottery was created, the lottery has given $5.5 billion to our state. And with these funds, the lottery has helped the state create a better life for everyone in so many ways. Over the years, the Connecticut Lottery has been one of the largest single contributors to Connecticut's general fund. That's why we say when someone plays the Connecticut Lottery, all 3.5 million people in our state are winners. To learn more, visit www.ctlottery.org. Purchasers must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly.
Drive-by with the Toyota Fan Highway Patrol, brought to you by Account Temps, the world's leader in specialized financial staffing. When you need temporary accounting or financial help, call Account Temps. Northbound on the New England Thruway before exit 19, Playland Parkway, there's an accident being cleared. Eastbound 287, really no problems to report from the Thruway on down to the Hutchins River Parkway. However, we do have a disabled vehicle on the exit ramp to the Hutch. Street cleaning rules are suspended today in observance of Lincoln's birthday and for snow removal operations. And over to Passaic County, New Jersey, eastbound 80 at Minnesink Road in Totowa, we have a tractor-trailer truck partially blocking the exit ramp. It's still being worked on. Westbound accident on the shoulder at exit 57 in Patterson. 20-minute delays at the Lincoln, 15 at the Holland. We're up to 10 at the George Washington Bridge. The Imus in the morning forecast, partly cloudy skies today, windy, high temperatures in the low 30s. Currently 20 degrees under fair skies in Central Park. I'm Debbie Drive-By with the Toyota Fan Highway Patrol.
It is 21 minutes after the hour here in the Imus in the Morning program. The news sponsored by Bigelow Tea, the official tea of the Imus in the Morning program. The business report on Friday, Dow Jones Industrial Average closed up 35 points, a little over that actually. And it's right under 11,000 now, Chuck, at 10,919. Yep. NASDAQ up 6 points at 2261, long way from the 5,000 where that was. New York Stock Exchange Composite down 0.17 points to close at 79.80. Time for a little sports now. And sports is sponsored by Peerless Boilers, America's best boiler. And here with that is Chris Carlin. Good morning, Chris.
Morning, I-Man. Just to clear up some of your things from earlier, we're talking about Bodie Miller. He is listed as also supposed to take part in the combined, which is tomorrow.
Right.
Then later in the week, you've got the Super G on Saturday and the Giant Slalom next week. He's not listed on the regular slalom. And then the game later this morning.
So how many more events does he have?
So he's got 3 more, according to
Right.
the NBC Olympics website.
Right.
And then the game later.
You might have thought Alicia would have availed herself of before she called us, wouldn't you?
Well, to defend her a little bit, it says is expected to.
Oh, I see.
So there you go. Also, the game later this morning that'll be here.
He won't if he dies. Or what?
If he hits every gate on the way down, as we all hope happens.
We want it to look like he came down the mountain on a Zamboni. It's every gate flattened. You know?
Well, the hockey game later this morning is a women's game. It's Sweden against Italy. That's coming up. The men's will begin on Wednesday.
I'm going to watch women's hockey at 8 a.m. on MSNBC.
Yeah, that's right. Sweden and Italy, Big Daddy.
They don't. Do they check in women's hockey? They don't, do they, or do they?
I think they do a little bit. I watched about 5 minutes of it yesterday, and it was just too slow. I couldn't get into it.
And there are no fights or anything, right?
No, not at all.
Right.
Double
What's
dip.
the point? Yeah, what is the point?
Double dip, by the way. Finland and Switzerland right after that, so I'm sure you'll be locked in on that game as well later this morning.
So we're being preempted this morning for, well, I can go. Okay. I can.
Women's hockey. There was a picture of the women's hockey team in Sports Illustrated.
Yeah? Our team, the USA team?
Yeah, the USA team.
Yeah, they all look like Winona.
They should be called the Grizzlies.
I mean, they look like Tricia Yearwood and Winona Judd are all on the team, man.
The Jet Scouts are looking for these people.
There's some big girls playing hockey. Well, what would you be? You wouldn't be, you know.
Sure, some petite ballerina. You
wouldn't be Michelle Kwan on the hockey team, would you, Chuck?
No. Although you might be Sarah Hughes.
That'll be fine, so that's vicious and mean. What else?
Well, speaking of which, Michelle Kwan is out of the Olympics, so Sarah Hughes' sister Emily is now in on the skating team. Apollo Anton Ono fell in the 1,500-meter short track speed skating, didn't even make the final.
No.
South Koreans finished 1-2 there. Bodie Miller finished 5th in the men's downhill.
Well,
that's right.
I'll be darned.
As in no medal, 5th.
Yeah.
Sean White took home the gold for the U.S. in the half-pipe snowboarding.
I love this kid.
Absolutely stunned that he won. And it sounds like he was also in desperate search of some Rice Krispie treats afterwards. Here's Sean.
I came out here and I barely made it in the finals with that run, and because I fell on the first one, and I don't know. After that, I just knew I could do the best run that I had planned, and it just worked out.
What?
You just know there are a couple of his buddies standing behind the reporters pointing at him going, "You are so stoned right now, man. You are so stoned."
Coming up on 25 FDR, Jack Valenti is next.
Call people who travel a lot, who hop in their cars, buses, and trucks, who cross the bridges and drive through the tunnels. We call them customers. Same for the people who ride path, go to our airports, drive over the George Washington Bridge, and ship through our port to and from all over the world. We're the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. Every day, millions of people put their trust in us. Our customers are the backbone of our system, so we listen to what they have to say. To improve the quality of our service, we're adding more customer service representatives, enhancing technology to provide real-time information, and providing better signage and communications. And we're continuing to add world-class food and retail services at our airports. Our goal? To provide the best service and facilities possible. When we say we take our responsibilities seriously, we mean it. For more information, check us out at www.panyj.info. The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. Look what we're doing.
We're talking with Paul Dow from Timeshares Only. Paul, I hear you've just come out with this great new kit that you're giving away?
Yeah, it's called the Top 10 Secrets to Buying and Selling Timeshares, and it's just a phenomenal resource for anybody looking to sell their timeshare.
Well, tell us about it.
Well, first of all, it tells you what your timeshare is really worth.
Uh-huh.
And more importantly, how to sell it for top dollar. Well, there are thousands of people out there just waiting to buy your timeshare. But you sort of need to learn the secrets to getting the most cash for it.
And the kit is free.
Yes, but it's only a limited time offer, so you need to call our toll-free number now, and we'll rush it right out.
Well, sounds like a pretty sweet thing for really anybody who owns a timeshare.
It really is. It could make you thousands of dollars.
Well, okay, the top 10 secrets to buying and selling timeshares. Here's the phone number to call. It's 1-800-600-3037. Again, that's 1-800-600-3037. 1-800-600-3037.
When you come to the dealer, the most important thing for us is the value that we give to you.
Real Ford and Lincoln Mercury service experts talk about why service is better at the dealership.
We are competitively priced. When a customer tells us they think they can get a better price somewhere else, we tell them we would be installing the original, correct Ford genuine parts on their vehicle versus what some other small corner shop will just offer what they have on their rack.
So you get a great deal. You get a lot for your money.
Right now, a genuine Motorcraft Tested Tough Plus battery is just $64.95, including a powerful 84-month warranty. That's a Motorcraft Tested Tough Plus battery, just $64.95.
You're better off going to the dealership for many reasons. We're better, we're proving it.
And we want you to be the judge.
Visit your participating Tri-State Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealers. MSRP with exchange, taxes and installation extra. See participating dealership for service hours and limited warranty details through 2/26/06.
Identity theft can ruin your life.
You're a deadbeat. I'll see you in court.
You got the wrong Jack Stanfield. I don't have any debt. Check your facts next time. Watch the new movie Firewall starring Harrison Ford and find out why no one is safe from identity thieves.
You think somebody got my information off the bank's internal network?
No. More likely a dumpster diver. Somebody sifting through your trash.
For more scenes from the movie Firewall in theaters February 10th, go to Equifax.com and find out how to help protect yourself from identity theft. Equifax, we're here to help.
Colorado ski country has seen more than 27 feet of snow this winter, and it just keeps coming. If you've been waiting for the perfect conditions, Colorado has them right now. And with airfare more affordable than ever, it's never been so close. Whether you're looking for a family trip this spring or a getaway with your buddies, now is the perfect time to escape to Colorado for blue skies and powder snow. Visit coloradoski.com for the latest snow conditions at all of your favorite resorts. They have what you've been looking for this winter, so make plans to visit them this year and get your trip started at coloradoski.com.
29 minutes after the hour here on the Imus of the Morning program on the radio all over the country and on MSNBC. Jack Valente was a special assistant. He's been on the program a number of times, as you all know, perhaps. Was a special assistant to Lyndon Johnson in the White House in 1966. He resigned and became the president, which was I remember it was a surprising move, but became president of the Motion Picture Association of America and became famous doing that. And stopped doing that in August of 2004, but didn't stop doing everything else. Please welcome to the Imus Morning program, the great Jack Valente. Good morning, Mr. Valente.
Thank you, Don. Thank you very much.
How are you?
Good. Couldn't be better.
How'd your book do?
Well, my book is due on about the 1st of December, I hope, and I'm still working on it, and I find a funny thing.
This is an autobiography, right?
Well, it's more of a memoir. It's little fragments of here and there, my early life, the war, went to Harvard, and then assassination in Dallas, White House.
It's a great stretch of movie.
And then Hollywood.
Yeah.
39 years in Hollywood.
It's Forrest Gump, except you're actually there. Isn't it?
Or maybe Zelig.
Yeah. I saw you walking around with the Colonel Jack Jacobs, who was a Medal of Honor recipient. He's a great guy, isn't he?
I didn't know he had the Medal of Honor.
Yes.
I must say, when I see that...
Oh, he's a crazy man.
When I see those blue ribbons with the white stars, like Senator Inouye has and Senator Bob Kerrey, I must say I'm reverential.
See, that's the thing about Jack Jacobs.
You wouldn't know.
I had to tell you that he had received the Medal of Honor.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It says a lot about the
That's
Colonel.
incredible. I just can't, when I read about how they got the Medal of Honor, some of those...
They strangled about 200 people with his bare hands. Went up a hill with a 200-pound backpack and strangled about 200. I forget whether, I guess it was Vietnam. So.
But it takes a lot of courage. It really does.
So Mr. Valente was on the train from Washington for 11 hours to get here.
Good Lord.
There was no way to sleep on the train, I guess, or was there?
Well, it was 8 hours, not 11. But nonetheless, it was a miserable voyage. That's all I can tell you.
Well, we were very...
They ran out of food. They almost had a riot and back in the car because they oversold and the people were standing up. And there was going to be an assault on the dining car.
Now, the reason Jack's here is because of this outfit called Tracy's Kids. That every day I go home, my wife said, "Did you mention Tracy's Kids today?" I said, "No, I forgot to do it today, but I did do it the other day." And obviously we're doing it this morning. Tracy's Kids is what?
Well, Tracy's Kids is a art therapy part of the Lombardi Cancer Center, where these kids, before would go to the cancer center and spend 4 or 5 hours. I don't have to tell you, Don. It's a small version of what you do at your ranch with these cancer patients. And they lie in a hospital bed looking up at a white ceiling. And now Tracy's kids came in about 10 years ago, and they have kind of a playground inside the Lombardi Center. And these kids come down with their IVs being rolled with them, and they work on computers, they work on art, they make all sorts of things. When I was there, I tell you, what I saw broke my heart and lifted my spirits all at the same time. There's a little 7-year-old African-American kid popping away on that computer with doing all sorts of magical things. Another place, a little girl about 11 was doing a painting, which I thought was pretty darn good. And then there's 2 other young girls that are working on making puppets. These kids, one of their families said, it sounds odd and bizarre, but they look forward to getting their chemo because they know they're going to be around other kids. They're not different. They're not unique.
Right.
And it's an extraordinary adventure. I tell you, I just wish that there were more of that. I know Tracy's kids is going to expand in the Children's Hospital. Your wife has been fantastic in it, and a brilliant young lawyer named Matt Gerson spending an enormous amount of time making this come true.
Well, that's exactly what the Tomorrow's Children's Fund does, and they started about 20 years ago over at Hackensack Hospital, which is now the 4th largest hospital.
Well, you've seen that then?
Oh, absolutely. So,
well, it was new to me. I hadn't seen this before, and it just sounds crazy that kids, for 2 or 3 hours a day, they're transported to where they're normal kids. They don't think about the fact they've got this aggressive treatments of chemo that they have to take 3 or 4 times a week.
In fact, the Tomorrow's Children's Fund, which is identical to Tracy's kids, actually came up with the idea of child life specialists and art therapists, and with each session of kids who come to the Imus Ranch, the Tomorrow's Children's Fund sends 2 child life specialists that they pay. And so they're there, and they're responsible for the kids at night when they go down to the dance hall and that kind of stuff. And they do exactly that same thing. So it's a wonderful program.
And they have art therapists at Tracy's kids. And these kids will tell these art therapists things they wouldn't tell their family or their doctor about how they feel about having cancer. And
we're good for them.
What we're going to do on Wednesday night to draw attention to Tracy kids, we've got a big reception, and we're going to give some awards to Senator Pat Leahy and to Senator Arlen Specter, who have been wonderful in helping fund some of this. And then we're going to take it over 6 theaters. We're going to show Brokeback Mountain and Capote.
To the kids?
No, this is for people who are going to pay a little money to show up.
By the way, Brokeback Mountain, that's not cowboys. Are you aware of that?
It's about cowboys?
It's not.
It's not about cowboys.
No, it's about sheep herders.
Well, I know they were herding sheep, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not following your line here.
Well, I've been taking a beating for this cowboy hat, and people thinking that it's cowboys. They're not cowboys, they're sheep herders.
Well, that's a big difference. I know.
It's a huge difference.
In Texas, you go into San Angelo. When I was living in Texas, a lot of sheep in San Angelo. You go to South Texas and West Texas, other places, they're cattle. There's a big difference.
Huge difference. Thank you, Jack, for pointing that out. Anyway.
But anyway, we're going to have 6 movies showing Walk the Line and Good Luck and Good Night and War of the Worlds. It's going to be a wonderful evening to throw some illumination and attention on what Tracy's Kids is doing, because Matt Gerson and your wife and others want to expand it into the Children's Hospital and maybe expand it even farther than that. But when I looked at it and spent some time there, I'll tell you, it's a marvel. It's fantastic what is being done.
Now, is there dinner and stuff too, or?
I think there's popcorn, but I'm not sure about the dinner.
What do you have to do? Are you an MC? Or
yes, I'm going to sort of handle the presentations, and then after that, then we go to one of the 6 auditoriums in this East Street Theater, which has about 10 screens, and 6 of them are going to be for Tracy's Kids on Wednesday night.
And then all the money goes to Tracy's Kids.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about.
So, and how do you get tickets or get involved in it?
I think you call Tracy's Kids, and
maybe I know.
You know something? That's a dereliction on my part.
No, it's not. I should know this. The Tracy's Kids annual fundraiser is Wednesday evening.
Correct.
At the East Street Cinema, downtown Washington. And the way you can get, it's open to the public, by the way. It's being underwritten by the Walt Disney Company. $250 a ticket, money going to Tracy's kids, of course.
That's a real bargain, I must say.
And for information and stuff, you can go. They have a website, Tracy'sKids.org, TracySkids.org, or you can call them at 301-229-2046.
229
2046.
2046.
301-229-30. 301-229-2046. Jesus, this is just not good, is it?
No.
There are currently 200 participants in the Tracy's Kids program, ranging between the ages of 2 and 24. On average, 24 newly diagnosed children with cancer, plus 12 other with non-cancer illnesses are admitted to the oncology hematology unit at Lombardi Cancer Center each month. So, it's a great thing to do, and I've seen it work with the Tomorrow's Children's Fund for the past 15, 16 years, and they just do an absolute great job. So,
well, it really fills your heart when you see that.
Well, it's great for these kids. I mean, it changes their lives, you know. Because these kids, what we found, both Deirdre and I, just been being around them, which was almost the foundation for the genesis, the idea for the ranch, was that these kids want to be treated like normal kids. And
that's right.
Because they're sick doesn't mean they're made to feel as though they're not normal. They're treated like lepers by their peers for whatever reason.
Now, do you have those kids? They work the horses and do chores down there and that sort of thing.
That's exactly what they do. They get up at 5:30 in the morning, and half a day they do chores, and the other half a day we teach them how to be cowboys and cowgirls. And there's no video games, there's no telephones, there's no cell phones, there's no iPods, there's no nothing. They can play pool or play cards for money.
And for a while, they forget about the fact they're sick.
Well, nobody on the ranch ever mentions that. So I remember a kid said to my wife one time, a girl, she said, you know, every place else in my life I'm treated like junior varsity. She said, here I'm treated like varsity. So they just want, you know, we run it like a boot camp. I mean, there's discipline, and they have to say yes, sir, and no, ma'am, and they have to behave themselves. They can't call each other little bitches and hoes, and they can't do any of that. And in most cases, in 9 out of 10 cases, it completely changes. Kid restores their dignity, restores their self-esteem, gives them a sense of accomplishment. It's a wonderful thing. A kid goes into Tracy's Kids, for example, as you've seen, and they get in one of these art therapy classes. It sounds, you know, half dopey, but it's not. Then they create something. They learn to use a computer, or they find out they're normal kids.
It is anything but dopey. You look into these kids' eyes, 6, 10, 12, and you see hope there. You see joy in their eyes. It's almost miraculous to see the transformation, where before they've dreaded going to the hospital, now they want to go. It's amazing.
Everybody has something wrong with them.
Yeah.
And that's all. They just had cancer, but they're still whole and normal people.
I also want to point out that people like Matt Gerson and your wife and others who are on this committee, and I've been on a couple of conference calls with them, I'm stunned, and I rejoice in the kind of passion that these people show and what they're trying to do for something like Tracy's Kids. It wouldn't work unless a lot of people just work their butts off to make this thing come about. And this lady, Tracy herself, who runs this thing, she's an extraordinary woman. And there's nothing in her life but this passion to make it better for kids who are sick as hell.
Well, good for her. We'll talk more with Jack Valente about the state of Hollywood, the state of the world, and the state of Jack, all coming up. It's 19 minutes away. To go to a hospital, you'd be wise to choose one that has a gold seal of approval. In fact, several gold seals. Hackensack University Medical Center, now the 4th largest hospital in the country, and the only, the Women's and Children's 300,000 square foot Women's and Children's Center that they are going to officially open sometime in March, is the first entirely green hospital, built green with, recycled steel and denim insulation instead of fiberglass and so on in the country. The Hackensack University Medical Center, the nation's oldest and largest standard-setting and accrediting healthcare body, the JCAHO, awarded 8 gold seals of approval in such areas as cardiology, joint replacement, pneumonia, asthma, kidney disease. There is no hospital in New York or New Jersey who has received 8 gold seals. In fact, they were one of the only 2 hospitals in the nation that did. It's good news for their patients. And then when their patients feel good, they feel good, and the entire hospital, this mammoth hospital, as you know, I've been talking about here the past few weeks, completely revamped their entire cleaning system and now clean the entire hospital with non-toxic cleaning agents, which reduced the incidence of people going in there already allergic to ammonia and all these other, and a lot of these cleaning products full of carcinogens and so on. Ammonia, a listed respiratory irritant. Why would you clean a hospital room with it? But they got the wondering, so now they don't. Not all radio commercials sound the same. Say, for example, a spot you hear on FAN for Mayjet, the one where a British guy tells you to find a really small chair and sit in it, scrunch your shoulders together and stay like that for 6 hours. Then try to stand up and go to an important meeting. You probably heard it on this station. That ad for MaxJet was done by an ad agency right in New York called Monrebo. Since the radio campaign broke in November, MaxJet's doing just great. The bookings are way up, and it looks as though they might be one airline that's going to be around for a while. The work they do at Monrebo is provocative, smart, and more importantly, it happens to work. Is this an ad for a advertising agency, Charles? I can't figure it out here. I'm listening. Yeah, I guess it is. They've created successful marketing programs for other clients as well. New York Presbyterian Hospital, I Love New York, BMW Motorcycles, Citigroup Private Bank, and New York Institute of Technology, just name a couple of them, few of them. It is. Go to their website for yourself. Monrebo, M-U-N-N-R-A-B-O-T, monrebo.com. So if your business could do with some fresh thinking, give Orson Munn a call at 212-727-3900. He might even take you to lunch, Monrebo. This is either a new low on this program, or perhaps not, maybe a new high.
Hello, I'm Dr. Tony, here to talk to you about a very important syndrome only found this time of year, and only affecting men. It's called Valentinus insania. It's brought on by last-minute gift shopping for Valentine's Day, turning normally intelligent, rational men into panic-stricken shells of their former selves. You've seen them at the mall.
Look at this. It's a piggy bank that says, I love you, every time you drop in a coin. Score!
Not a sane choice. Listen to this.
Hey, whoopee slippers. They make a noise when you walk. She'll think that's funny. Surely.
Tragic. You can't cure Valentinus insania, but you can avoid it by going to Build-A-Bear.com. There's still time to make her a truly unique gift. A stuffed animal you choose, name, and dress. You can even add a personal message for it to say. Just order by 3 p.m. Central, February 13th, and she'll have her gift by Valentine's Day. Go to Build-A-Bear.com or call 1-866-460-BEAR. Do it now, and thank you.
You can't see it. You can't smell it. But one breath, and you're dead. Fox Monday on an all-new 24. Terrorists have stolen 20 canisters of deadly nerve gas.
The canisters could be deployed at subway stations and sports arenas.
Thank you. Now, must Jack Bauer sacrifice hundreds of lives?
Jack, this is a direct order from the president
to save thousands more.
Let them release the gas. Now!
Hold your breath. God forgive me. The new non-stop season of 24 continues.
Tonight at 9 on Fox 5. Then on Fox 5 News at 10, the dangers of mold.
I could take a swab in anyone's home and find mold.
You've heard all the horror stories, but not this one. Fox 5 News goes undercover. See who's crashing in on our fears of getting sick and what you can do to stop them. Tonight, after 24, on Fox 5 News at 10.
13 till the hour here on the Imus Morning program on the radio all over the country and on MSNBC at 8 o'clock this morning. MSNBC is going to the Olympics, which I approve of, by the way, because I'm homed in on the Olympics. I'm dialed in on that. I've watched every event. I have no idea what the hell they're doing. I don't care. If it's some clown on skis or ice and they have a stopwatch involved, I'm there. So anyway, we're talking with Jack Valente, and this Tracy's Kids event is Wednesday night, and they're going to show...
in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, showed a bunch of films that have been nominated for Oscars. They're going to present the first annual Courage Award to Senator Arlen Specter, who waged a courageous battle against cancer. And God, he looks great last time I saw him. It's going to be presented, unfortunately, by Senator Patrick Leahy, who's more...
No, Don, that's not fair.
Anyway, it's Wednesday evening. The reception's at 6 p.m. You might be able to scare up a cocktail at that little affair. The program starts at 6:45. The film presentation starts at 7:45. It's at the E Street Cinema on E Street Northwest in Washington, D.C. Business attire. Got valet parking. Somebody hot rod your Beamer around there, and it sounds like a great event. Mr. Valente will be there. These films, these Brokeback Mountain and the Truman Capote film, and what's that all about?
Well,
I don't want to go see two cowboys in a store, two sheep herders in a sleeping bag. I mean, come on.
I know John Wayne's spinning in his grave. We know that, but you're going to have 6 films, the best of the best, so that everybody can enjoy themselves. And all except for, I think, War of the Worlds, the rest of them are all nominated films. So,
although I've been reading for the past month or so, we've read to Wyatt since he was 12 days old. And I've been reading the cowboy artist, and real cowboy, Will James.
Oh, I remember him. Yeah.
His autobiography. And
he wrote good stuff, too.
It's a little tough to read because he was self-educated. But at one point in this account of his life, and he worked on every ranch from Canada to Mexico, into Mexico. And he was best at breaking broncs. That was he could do everything. He was a real cowboy. And then he was an artist, and he wrote. But at one point in this book, which I, by the way, sent over to Mike Land at New Line Cinema, and said, this is, I don't know anything about movies, but it seemed to me that, God, this would be a great movie. But there was this, we're at page 288, and there's a scene, and my wife said, well, you've got to show something. You've got to be a little discerning in reading this stuff to Wyatt, you moron. I hadn't read this part to him because when he falls asleep, I keep reading because it's a wonderful book. But there's a point where Will meets a cowboy at some saloon in some town someplace and invites him to stay with him and sleep in the same bed and so on. So, but that doesn't discuss anything other than that. But I know back in those days that it was not uncommon for cowboys to sleep in the same bed. But I don't know what else happened, but it sounds kind of weird, a little weird.
Oh, you're torturing all my ideals here, Don. I want you to know.
About Will James?
Well, about cowboys in general.
Well, I don't know. I grew up around them. I never liked that happen on any ranch I was ever on.
I used to love Zane Grey, and then later on Louis L'Amour. They wrote each about 20 or 30 novels, maybe more. But they were authentic. They sprung right out of the soil of the West.
But do any of these movies has been alleged by somebody, like Brokeback Mountain, or like Capote, or because I was a big fan of his, by the way. And what was the book he wrote about the murders in Kansas?
In Cold Blood.
In Cold Blood. One of the great books ever written.
Oh my God!
One of the great books ever written.
Gripping.
You can't put it down once you pick it up.
The book's better than the movie.
Much better.
Far better than the movie. And the movie wasn't bad.
No, it was good, but
is there a Hollywood agenda, or has there always been, or I don't know, was that jive or?
No, I don't think there's any agendas in Hollywood. What they look for is that some writer or some director becomes passionate about a story. Because when you get right down to it, what a movie is about is a piece of storytelling. And if the story is not compelling, if the narrative drive doesn't really get in your body, in your heart, the movie's going to go in the toilet. But a movie starts when somebody either writes it or wants to direct it, and that's how it goes. And I don't know, and last year I think there were over 700 movies produced in this country. We don't have enough, as I've said before, we don't have enough talented, creative people to make 700 good movies. The majors put out about 200, and if you can get 4 out of 10, you're in the Hall of Fame. So it's a very unpredictable business, sometimes cruel and sometimes surprising, but it's absolutely fascinating. The reason why I like creative people, I've said often, is that some of them are a little crazy and off the wall, but none of them is dull. And I find dullness to be the one sin for which there is no absolution. So,
well, what is interesting about Brokeback Mountain, for example, is the screenplay was written, as you obviously know, by the same guy who wrote Lonesome Dove.
That is right. Larry McMurtry and Diana Osana.
Right.
And
she didn't write Lonesome Dove. He hooked up with her later.
She's been writing with a lot of other books. I think he's fantastic. That Streets of Laredo was one of the most fantastic movies and books that I read.
Did you read Leaving Cheyenne?
Oh,
God, was that a great book?
Yes, unbelievable. But Lonesome Dove...
I read Leaving Cheyenne after Lonesome Dove. Somebody said, did you read Leaving Cheyenne? I said, no. So you got to read it. God, that was a great book.
I don't know of any book that Larry has written that you say, okay, every book is superbly done.
Or a couple after Lonesome Dove that were tedious. Come on, Jack.
Well, I don't know which one you're talking about. No, just don't even mention them if you think they were dull.
But Lonesome Dove, I mean, one of the great villains in the history of literature was Blue Duck, the Indian out of, remember that, Charles?
Absolutely.
That's a mean son of a bitch.
And Woodrow Call.
Woodrow Call, yeah. That was
a great stories.
Yeah.
And who was it played it? But I think it was Lonesome Dove is Robert Duvall and
I forget the other.
Who was the other guy?
I can't remember.
Robert Duvall was wonderful.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee.
That's it. That's it. Very good.
Very good, Brian.
Really? Very good. Give that man, give him a statuette here.
We got about a minute left. It's great to see you. You look, I was looking at you in the monitor. You look good in person. You look great on television. The clothes are great.
You mean the camera is warm and affectionate to me?
Well, no, and you look good. So.
Well, listen, the alternative is pretty bleak. I don't want to think about it.
When will your, I know you mentioned your book will be out in the spring or no?
No. After November, the November elections, you don't want to have a book come out. I was talking to somebody who was very wise about this, that if you have a book that comes out, say, in the middle of an election, and you get on the Imus show or you get on some other show, they always bump you because they've got some senator or congressman who's got some, as you would say, some hideous story he wants to tell on the air, and so you get bumped.
You wouldn't get bumped here.
No. Well, it happens on other shows.
It won't happen here.
And by the way, Don, I know this is going to come as a shock to you, but the last time I was on, I remember what you said, and I know you're a man of your word. You said when your book is out, come back on, and we're gonna talk about it. So I've got it down in my calendar.
Oh well, that's a guaranteed deal.
I like that.
In fact, we would insist you come here first. So,
and I'll do that.
Thanks. The great Jack Valente.
Thanks, Don.
Jack.
Thank you, Charles.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Brian.
Thank you. 4 minutes till the hour.
We got about 8 women in the studio, so I need to ask something. Gals, for Valentine's Day, would you rather have a dozen roses or a day at a spa? It's unanimous.
Spa wins again.
A day at a spa. So guys, this is a great Valentine's idea. Call 1-888-SPA-WISH. 1-888-SPAWI.
For everything Olympics, keep it here now through February 26th, exclusively on your flagship station for the Winter Olympics. The Fan, Sports Radio 66, WFAN, New York.
You know, there's an old Hawaiian saying that goes, Makalaka haka, Onawa, Huna, Olaka, Juna, Oka, Kruna, Kona, which means 7-Eleven now offers delicious world roast coffees, including the rich, medium-bodied flavor of the Hawaiian Kona Blend coffee. Which reminds me of another saying, Haka Wanta Nak Justa Chaka, meaning the well-balanced flavor of Hawaiian Kona Blend coffee is brewed fresh every 30 minutes at participating 7-Eleven stores. Oh, thank heaven, aloha.
All right, Smith, contracts in order?
Yes, sir.
What was that?
My stomach. I skipped breakfast.
Okay, Gene, is your team ready?
Oh, dear. I skipped too.
Oh, Jenkins.
I didn't eat either.
What's wrong with you people?
Stomach
stomach growling? You don't have to skip breakfast. Whip into 7-Eleven for our new pancake breakfast sandwiches. Double sausage and cheese or molasses ham with egg between fluffy maple pancakes. They're great on the go. Oh, thank heaven. At participating 7-Eleven stores.
The Nets hit the road to take on Rip Hamilton, Rasheed Wallace, and the rest of the defending Eastern Conference champion Pistons. Tomorrow night at 7:20. This is Chris Carino. Join us for all the action right here on your flagship station for Nets basketball, The Fan. Sports Radio 66 WFAN, New York.
Presenting Jake. He relies on a personal trainer,
Remember now, lift from the knees.
a dog trainer,
Sit, stay, good boy.
a neighborhood mechanic.
Looks like you're gonna need new brake pads.
A masseuse.
Yeah, just below my shoulder.
A travel agent.
Ooh, St. Bart's in the off-season is heavenly.
And an accountant. You know, you can write that off. You see, Jake believes that to do things the right way, you have to go to the right people. That's why he also relies on his local Fidelity Investor Center. Because with one-on-one personalized service, free portfolio reviews, and Fidelity's guidance, he's becoming quite the financial expert himself. Fidelity Investments. Smart move.
Get started today. Visit one of our 19 Fidelity Investor Centers located throughout Manhattan and the New York tri-state area, and let us help you develop strategies to reach your goals. Call 1-800-FIDELITY or visit fidelity.com to find a location near you. Fidelity Brokerage Services, member NYSE, SIPC.
This is the Imus in the Morning radio program on WFAN New York. It is 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Time for the headline stories. Big dig all being done today all up and down the East Coast. With snow shovels, basically, after a record-setting nor'easter pounded the East Coast, North Carolina to Maine. The official snow total in New York City's Central Park, hotly disputed on the Imus in the Morning program, was nevertheless 26.9 inches. And that does establish a record as the biggest snowfall during a single storm since they started keeping track of those sorts of things.
Well, my wife and my son, as we were driving back into town last night, were making fun of me, claiming that, because it was my position at that point,
right,
that there was a lot of snow, and they said, no, this is just absurd.
This is nothing.
No.
Well,
you know how some of these storms we've had in years past where these cars were, there were some cars buried, but
but where you saw streets lined with cars buried and stuff,
No, so somebody's lying here, right, Bernie?
Clearly. It's the grandstanding little monkey, Mike Bloomberg.
Right. How to make himself look good.
Yeah. Barely 26 inches himself.
Yeah.
We need an investigation.
Exactly. A snow jive.
Well, what they're saying is that sanitation crews were able to work all through the night. And because it occurred on a weekend, they were better able to clear stuff.
No, but even the streets, you just see the cars on the side. They're just not covered like you have seen in the past.
They just didn't have that kind of accumulation on them.
Let me ask you this, both Bernard and Lou. If I were to come over to FAN today, do I have to step into snow when I get out of the limo to get to the door? I do.
Surely. Oh, yeah.
They haven't shoveled any of that?
A little bit in front of the main entrance.
Oh, well, then I'm not coming over. I'm not going to do that.
How are the streets in Queens, which is often a borough that is...
Hit and miss.
Really?
Yeah, they're passable.
They're
okay?
The big ones are cleared.
All right.
They're passable in a Jeep.
Yes, in a Jeep. You have four-wheel drive, you're okay.
Yeah. The Grand Cherokee, you can make it.
Okay.
Now you're dead.
They have been much worse.
Yeah. If not, it's an Olympic event getting in.
Right.
Well, public schools are all open in New York City, but in Philadelphia, it is another story. Public and parochial schools there are closed. And a similar story in central and northeast Maryland, where some 55,000 people lost their electricity service during the storm, and they're saying they could be without power in that area of Maryland until at least tomorrow. We'll have more coming up. It's 3 minutes now past the hour.
What if everything in life came with a bonus?
Can you gift wrap this scarf for my girlfriend?
Yes, sir. And for no extra charge, we'll deliver it in a stretch limo and sing her a love song while she opens it.
Oh, Rick, the answer is yes.
And for accepting my diamond engagement ring, you'll also get this matching necklace and genuine leather jewel case.
Want a bonus of your own? Open a money market account from MetLife Bank with $5,000 or more and get 4% APY, far more than the national average. Maintain $5,000 for 90 days and receive a $50 bonus. To open your account or find your local MetLife Financial Services representative, call 1-888-MET-LIFE. That's 1-888-MET-LIFE. Or visit MetLifeBank.com. Mention code MET50. You'll get a bonus. I'd like a quart of milk, please.
Of course, ma'am. And may I add something extra?
Accounts with balances below $5,000 or 1% APY. Bonus for new customers only. Bank products and services are offered by MetLife Bank N.A., member FDIC, an affiliate of MetLife Inc.
Hello, I'm Dr. Tony, here to talk to you about a very important syndrome only found this time of year, and only affecting men. It's called Valentinus insania. It's brought on by last-minute gift shopping for Valentine's Day, turning normally intelligent, rational men into panic-stricken shells of their former selves. You've seen them at the mall.
Look at this. It's a piggy bank that says,
I love you.
every time you drop in a coin, score.
Not a sane choice. Listen to this.
Hey, whoopee slippers. They make a noise when you walk. She'll think that's funny. Surely.
Tragic. You can't cure Valentinus insania, but you can avoid it by going to Build-A-Bear.com. There's still time to make her a truly unique gift, a stuffed animal you choose, name, and dress. You can even add a personal message for it to say. Just order by 3 p.m. Central, February 13th, and she'll have her gift by Valentine's Day. Go to Build-A-Bear.com or call 1-866-460-BEAR. Do it now, and thank you.
They just said. 5 minutes after the hour here in the Imus-Feb program on the radio all over the country and on, well, we're not on MSNBC now, but what I'm preparing to watch here on USA is, this is insane, is women's curling. And that's where they take this round thing that weighs about 50 pounds, right, Chuck?
Yep, just simply refer to it as a stone.
Right. And they slide this booger down the ice.
Yeah, they do.
And
like you're playing shuffleboard darn near.
Right. And then they have people in front of it with not brooms, but they're
called to be broomers. Yeah, brooms.
And they try to get it. This is just beyond stupid, isn't it?
By scrubbing in front of the stone, they can affect its course over the ice and how fast it goes or slow and so on.
Well, the guy forgot it in the blue ring. I don't know what that means.
I don't either, but we'll watch it.
It needs to be in the red to win, right?
I'm not that familiar with the sport, man.
Here comes somebody. Here's Maureen Brunt from the USA. She's sliding her stone. There go the broomers, sweepers, whatever the hell they are, scrubbers. This is just stupid. This is beyond stupid. What? Oh, God. She knocked the other one out there. All right, baby. All right. She knocked the other one out there, Chuck.
And she's in there, and I don't know what it means.
Oh, all right, baby.
Except it had to be good.
Yeah. All right, let's check with the news.
That is just the most ludicrous thing.
Are you watching it?
Yeah, it's ludicrous, though.
I'm
I've seen it.
But I'm telling you, that's how I can get into this thing.
A person sweeping it in front. Come on.
Oh, man, it's crazy.
You gotta love a sport where they could easily have a six-pack on the side.
That should be mandatory. That is ludicrous. Come on.
This is an Olympic event.
This is Olympic level
You're
curling.
getting high fives from people.
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, it's just you can't even make up how stupid this is.
That belongs in a mental hospital. Oh, let's get busy with this event for a while.
Gonna rip up her shirt like Brandy Chastain in a second.
Yeah, right, run around.
Yeah, baby.
USA.
How do you train with something like this? Scrub a floor?
Stupid.
Oh, this one.
Oh, it's gonna be short.
Oh no, it's not.
No, we scrub.
Scrubbing.
Come on, baby.
Sweep, you crazy.
Well, they didn't get it done.
Oh my God. That's horrid.
Oh, that's horrible.
Well, you could do that, man.
Severe garbage time in the hurling.
There's Chuck with the
Not
news.
what they were looking for.
Not at all. Speaking of sport, in a not unrelated totally item, since hunting is a sport in this country, in Texas, the daughter of a lawyer accidentally shot by Vice President Cheney says her dad is a very lucky man. Sally Whittington tells the Dallas Morning News that the welts on her father's face from birdshot look like chicken pox. Millionaire Austin attorney Harry Whittington hospitalized after he was peppered with birdshot pellets while quail hunting in Texas with the vice president on Saturday. Catherine Armstrong is the woman who owns this huge ranch, 55,000-acre Armstrong Ranch, where the accident took place, and she actually witnessed it and explains how it occurred.
The vice president took aim at the bird and shot, and unfortunately, Mr. Whittington was in the line of fire and got peppered pretty well.
Whittington apparently, according to accounts of what happened, had come up from behind the party. He had retrieved a bird that believed that he had shot and was approaching from behind when another covey of quail
this is stupid.
got up, and the vice president turned, picked out a bird, fired, and Whittington was there.
If the vice president hadn't have received 5 deferments to keep from going to Vietnam, the final deferment, he actually got married just to keep from having to go. Had a kid or something. He'd have learned how to use a gun. This wouldn't have happened. This is outrageous.
Whittington himself sent word to the hospital that he would not be commenting on the accident out of respect for the vice president, and Mr. Cheney is now back in Washington.
Out of respect, he's scared to death.
I don't want to say anything. He'll come back and finish the job.
Well, he knows how to use the gun. He hit the thing. It was just the wrong thing.
Yeah. How do you get confused between a little bird?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy wearing an orange jacket.
Yeah.
Let's hope there were martinis involved. That the thing gets...
Yeah, a Bloody Mary deal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back to the Olympics for a second. Rich Ackerman is someplace there in Italy. Hi, Rich. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Imus.
Where are you?
I'm in the International Broadcast Center along Radio Row.
Oh, you are?
There's a lot of bird flu over there.
So, what's going on?
Lots thus far. Bodie Miller comes up with a disappointing run yesterday, finishes 5th. American Darren Rawls, who was probably the more heavily favored of the two, finishes 10th. So lots of disappointment in the men's downhill. And today, American hopeful Lindsay Kildow crashed on her practice run. She had to be carried off.
What kind of shape is she in, do we know?
Not yet. Extent of her injuries are unknown.
You know what was kind of confusing about all of this, Rich, and by the way, you don't sound unhappy to be reporting from Torrent to wherever you are there in Radio Row. But anyway,
I'm 5,000 miles away. Nobody can find me.
Okay.
Nobody's looking for you.
That they had these both Bodie Miller and Darren Rawls had these somehow these new skis were made available to them, and they neither one of them had ever skied on them. I guess Rawls tried them out the afternoon before. And then Bodie had either tried him out or didn't try him out. And so he skied with skis he'd never skied with before. And he went before Rawls. And when Rawls saw the time that Bodie Miller put up, he was prepared to ski with the same skis. And he switched back to his old skis. And I mean, and it was, there at the top of the mountain. It was, it was 5 seconds before he was supposed to ski. And he's jumping on another skis. I mean, it would look crazy.
Yeah, and both were in communication with each other, but both were relatively happy with their runs and really didn't see a lot of mistakes that they made. They said there was not a fast track, and Denarier, the man who won on the final run of the day, which is usually, it never happens, they said he just had a great run. I don't know whether he threw caution to the wind or whatnot, but had just an amazing run, but neither even came close to a medal after their runs.
Well, what happened was, Charles, as you see, that's a guy who skied 30th. The guy, a former world champion, I think, had put up the best time. So he's there jumping around with his friends thinking the gold medal's his. And the guy who skis last figured, well, he's going to come in last. And he won.
Exactly.
So,
precisely, yes.
And he had not finished higher than 6th on the World Cup Tour. He had torn his ACL in his knee before that, so this was, I guess, sort of a comeback tour for him. But he had not had a big year, so it was an extremely big surprise.
How many other events is Bodie Miller going to ski in?
He's got 4 more.
Oh, he does?
He's got the combined, the Super G, the slalom, and the giant slalom.
Oh, okay.
So he's got a chance. He's got a chance to medal, but right now, obviously, you could say that people don't like it when you talk the talk but can't walk the walk.
What was considered to be his strongest event? This one he didn't medal in, the downhill.
I think it was the downhill. Yes.
So the events coming up are not. Well, they're not the ones he'd be favored in, are they?
Yeah, I think he can medal in the combined, but the downhill is also the most prestigious event of all the skiing.
What's the germ situation there, Rich?
I could use some of Mrs. Imus's greening and cleaning glass cleaner solution.
The all-purpose cleaner too, by the way.
Yeah, and it's available at ImusRanchFoods.com or by calling 888-248-IMUS if you want to put that in. But it's been a couple of days since they cleaned my room. For some reason, they keep going by my room. I got home last night. I figured, okay, there's a Do Not Disturb sign on my door. They must have cleaned. I didn't realize that Do Not Disturb meant Do Not Disturb my room.
Well, how are your accommodations?
In a word, lousy.
Oh, they are?
We're making it through, yeah.
Mark told me you were...
It's loud.
Oh, go ahead.
It's cold and damp, but and it's extremely loud. I might as well be in Grand Central.
There's no heat?
But we're making it through okay.
There's no heat in the room?
There is heat, but the ceilings are about 25 feet high, and the windows are very old. So, and plus, I'm in a spot where right next to the front door, which many people decide for whatever reason to leave open. So if they leave it open, it gets cold. If they slam it shut, the whole room shakes. So I can't win either way.
All right, Rich, thanks very much. Rich Ackerman from WFAN in New York. They're in Turin, Italy, covering the Olympics, and one would hope we'll talk to Rich again. Sure. It's coming up on a quarter after the hour. What?
Should hope you don't catch nothing. You know how many people sleep in those beds before you get to them?
Yeah. Guaranteed it won't be a venereal disease.
Nothing.
No, Rich Ackerman.
He'll have nothing. Lock up the Italian women, yeah. Here comes Ackerman.
Well,
well, come on. We got to hope for the best for the big guy.
Well, yeah. Well, at least he knew what was going on.
Yeah, he did.
So, all right, a quarter after the hour. Well, this curling, they just can't be serious about this, can they, Charles? I guess they are.
Of course.
Always a waitress, the way I always do. How was I to know she was with the Russians too? I was gambling in Havana. I took a little risk. Send lawyers, guns, and money. Dad, get me out of this. Ha! Imus in the morning.
Monday, Olympic action continues from Torino. The first medals in the Winter Games' most popular sport will be determined as Russia skates to extend its decades-old dynasty in the pairs competition. And high-flying half-pipers Gretchen Greiler, Hannah Teeter, and defending champ Kelly Clark look to extend America's snowboard dominance. Also, the fastest men on skates race for gold in the men's 500, including reigning world sprint champion Joey G. Catch all the Olympic excitement and drama on NBC.
Ever wish upon a star?
Not lately.
Open your Valentine's present.
Wow. You named a star after me?
Let's wish on it. Wish for us. It's the best Valentine's gift ever. For $54, International Star Registry will record your star name in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office and send you a beautiful gift package. Call the Star Registry at 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com. That's 800-282-3333 or starregistry.com. Let's wish for forever.
I love you.
Imus!
If you are a business leader, you need to confront today's rising electricity costs head on and do it in an environmentally sound way. Hi, I'm Tom Custer, president of DomeTech Solar of Edison, New Jersey. Solar energy is your solution, and it's here now. Many tri-state companies are taking advantage of state and federal incentives that actually pay for over half the cost of a solar installation, with many New Jersey companies seeing paybacks of 5 years or less. With millions of dollars in solar energy rebates still available, why not find out more from DomeTech Solar? Investment in a solar energy system from DomeTech Solar is great business. It's a hedge against rising energy costs. It uses the sun's energy to produce electricity without noise or emissions. It's simply the right thing to do for the environment and your bottom line. DomeTech Solar is proud to be the leading North American provider of shot solar panels. To find out more about solar energy, call us at 888-345-SOLAR. That's 888-345-SOLAR, or go to dtsolar.com.
Yeah, it sounds typical for a software company, but we started in the garage. Actually, the servers were in the garage, and I was in the kitchen drinking lots of coffee.
Chris Johnson, founder and CEO, Priasoft.
Maybe it was all that coffee, but I was definitely nervous going out on my own. You leave a cush job with expense accounts, a nice office, but I felt boxed in there. I wanted to build something, and I found a $700 million email market. But unfortunately, dreams don't pay the overhead. American Express saw the opportunity I saw. It really helped make sure my humble beginnings didn't last forever.
Being open-minded is how small business owners approach their business and how American Express serves them. Open to giving Chris the financing he needed 2 years before his bank would. To see how American Express can help your small business, visit open.com or call 1-800-NOW-OPEN.
A few brown bag lunches here and there, but we're making a good run at it.
The following is an OnStar conversation.
Center, this is Mary. Hi, I wanted to find out about adding minutes to my phone. Okay, what would you like to know?
OnStar Hands-Free Calling is a voice-activated calling feature built into OnStar-equipped vehicles that allows subscribers to make and receive calls while keeping their hands on the wheel and eyes on the road.
Can I go ahead and add the 250 minutes? You can always go higher now. Hey, girlfriend, I'm already addicted to this thing.
There are no additional access fees, roaming, or long-distance charges.
Thank you for holding those units for download successfully. Just tell all your friends how addicted you are to OnStar. I definitely will. Thank you so much. No problem. Is there anything else I can do for you? Nope, that's it. So you have a good night. You have a great evening, and thank you for using OnStar.
You'll find OnStar on over 50 GM vehicles. OnStar by GM. To purchase hands-free calling minutes or learn more about this service, push your blue button or visit OnStar.com. OnStar hands-free calling is not available in certain markets.
I'm Debbie Drive-By with the Toyota Fan Highway Patrol, brought to you by Home Depot. Catch girlfriends on Channel 9 tonight as Joan, Tony, and Lynn go to the Home Depot for help with their home improvement problems and learn how to do it themselves. Check the local listings. And southbound on the West Side Highway after 158th Street, there's a disabled vehicle in the process of being cleared. Delays stretch back to the George Washington Bridge. Northbound FDR accident takes out the right lane after 96th Street. Delays go back to the 80s there. Northbound Hutch at the New England Thruway, overturned vehicle blocking the left lane. To Bergen County, New Jersey, southbound on 17 at Hoboken Road in East Rutherford, the right lane is closed. There's some emergency utility work. They have to put a pole up because there was a serious accident there last night. 30-minute delays at the Lincoln Tunnel, 15 at the Holland, down to 5 at the George Washington Bridge. The items in the morning forecast, partly cloudy, high in the low 30s, 20 in Fair and Central Park. I'm Debbie Drive-By with the Toyota Fan Highway Patrol.
It is 21 minutes after the hour here in the Imus the Morning program on the radio all over the country. Not on MSNBC because they're doing some kind of Olympic thing now. But we're watching USA, the curling, and the two Johnson twins, the two blonde girls are adorable. And they look to be about 15, but I guess a little older.
No, because one of them's getting married, and they're from Minnesota, not, Alabama.
Right. But they're up on Norway 2-0, kicking Norway's ass.
Oh, man.
In the curling here. I mean, they're putting an ass whooping on Norway.
Curling ass. Rock ass.
I think Norway should send that one chick down the ice instead of the stone.
Yeah, that's brutal. All right. Please welcome now to Tucson, Arizona, sponsored by a Tri-State Jeep dealer, to report exclusively on his weekend activities. My brother, Fred Imus. Good morning, Fred.
Hey, man, what's going on with I-Man?
Well, I'm dialed in on this Olympics.
You are?
Yeah. So.
And you know what makes these, I was thinking, it's not the event itself that made this interesting. It's the stories that go along with it. Like, I'll probably watch Emily Hughes skate, just because she got bumped and now she's back in it.
Yeah.
It's those kind of stories that make these events worth watching. If it wasn't for these stories like that, you wouldn't pay any attention to them.
Whole thing that Roone Arledge did back those many years ago, up close and personal, that deal.
When he revolutionized the whole deal.
Yeah, it's just like the Super Bowl, It's all those stories about, this guy's dad played in the NFL and things like that, that make these events interesting.
Yep.
Otherwise, they're just, the event itself sucks, pretty much.
Who won the poll for the Daytona?
I believe Jeff Burton, and in front rows, I believe it's going to be Jeff Burton and Jeff Gordon.
And then Dale Jarrett ran great, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Where's he, in the second round?
Well, I don't know. I haven't paid much attention, although this year, to keep my interest, Gordon and Earnhardt Jr. are going to have to make a comeback,
I'm a big Jeff Gordon fan, by the way.
Yeah, me too. And I'm also an Earnhardt fan. And to be interesting to me, they've got to be real competitive this year, which who knows.
Yeah.
So I'll be getting psyched up for that coming up.
The Daytona 500 will be on NBC.
Right.
On Sunday at 1:30 Eastern Time.
Yeah.
So they'll run 500 miles. And
Super Bowl in NASCAR.
Right, it's their first race of the season and their most important one for
the fans, I think.
I guess, yeah. Well, for the drivers too.
Drivers too, but it's a big. It would get people to watch it that aren't normally NASCAR fans, watch it because it's the Daytona 500.
So, what happened this weekend in Tucson?
Well, I went down rode Lily yesterday.
Your horse?
Not the lady next door, but my horse.
Right. What is her name, the lady who lives next door?
I don't know what her name is. I'm assuming it's Lily.
Right.
But that's just an assumption.
I'm sure.
And I taught her a new trick.
What is that?
She'll fetch like a dog. You know how you throw something, a dog will go get it and bring it back?
Right.
My horse will do that same thing. I can take my hat and throw it as far as I can throw it. She'll trot over and get it and bring it back.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that always amazes everybody down there.
Well, horses are as smart, or maybe even smarter than dogs,
See, that's what I've always maintained. A lot of people don't think that. But teaching a horse something is to figure out how to teach it to them.
Right.
If you can figure that out, then you can teach them anything they're physically capable of doing.
Right.
So my new trick is, like I have a half a bale of hay on my truck.
Right.
And Lily knows it's there. So I go hide my truck somewhere, and then I get on her, and don't cue her or anything with my feet or just a loose rein, and let her walk around and find it. And it's amazing because you can almost feel her thinking, Well, she goes out the parking lot. Well, truck's not there. And then she goes by her stall. Well, it's not there. And then she walks around behind the barn, and there's the truck, Right. Not a very interesting weekend, but it does amaze the people down there.
Do you hide the truck in different areas, or is it always behind the barn?
No, I hide it in different areas, but I haven't hided it where she has a pen, That would be, I don't know, that probably wouldn't work. I always put it somewhere where she's been,
You haven't hided it? She really just...
Hid it? What did I say, hided it?
Yeah.
That's all right.
That's all right.
Oh, but I didn't graduate from high school. What do you expect? For Christ's sake.
So, and that's it for the weekend activities?
A little laundry and the normal stuff, brush the dog.
Right.
But other than that, nothing.
What's the job situation look like?
Well, I talked to them last week, and they said, you just got to be patient, They haven't changed their mind or anything. They say it's going to happen, but they just have to be patient, Well,
talking about Sirius satellite radio.
Right, but come on,
they've got 1,000 channels.
Yeah, they have a lot of them.
Yeah.
But you can't wait forever,
No.
Something's got to happen here soon.
What's going on back at the radio station where you were? You quit that job, right?
Right. Well, I didn't quit it. They took our show off, and then they wanted me to do cut-ins on your show from 4 to 6 in the morning, which is stupid,
When is our show on there?
It was, they keep changing it,
Right, that's great.
It's
It's a good way to build an audience.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Well, it's on, I believe, from 5 to 8 now.
Right, well, that's a good time.
But that could change,
Sure.
That'll probably go, I imagine, 4 to 6 pretty soon.
Okay.
Which, but it should be 6 to 10, because it's a show you can sell. It's one of the few shows that, it's the only show they have that you can actually sell. A sponsor wants to buy the show, because they have that right audience.
Right.
And you can't sell the other crap they got. But
right.
I look for them to go bankrupt if they keep doing this,
Sure.
Just to throw money in a black hole.
Right.
You know about that.
Yeah. Yes, I do. Coincidentally. Well,
inside baseball there.
Well, now you'll be coming up Friday, and I guess you'll have your big
Daytona 500 pick, yeah.
Okay. And then, this gives you a few more days to do something, as opposed to just the 2 you had for the weekend. So we'll expect an exclusive report on your week in Tucson. That will be coming up.
Oh, yeah, and my friend Don Collier come over yesterday morning to see if I was still alive.
Right. How's he doing?
He's doing real good.
Okay. Well, all right. Thanks, Fred.
Well, I'm sorry I didn't have more happening, but...
No, that's fine.
Well, no,
we don't have any problem.
You hit a pickup truck from the horse. Probably not many people in America did that over the weekend. Pretty good.
Don't fake it.
Well, the first thing we learned about the Johnson twins is they're not twins. They're simply sisters. They live in Minnesota, and they were born in 1981, so I don't know how old that makes them, but they're like 25 or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They look 15, don't they?
Even a couple of young blondes with brooms in their heads.
Curling
Come on,
keeps you
Chuck.
young.
Well, they're cute kids and they're young ladies, and they're beating the hell out of Norway. That's all we care about. They put an ass whooping on Norway.
Yeah.
29 after the hour.
At subway stations and sports arenas.
Now, must Jack Bauer sacrifice hundreds of lives?
Jack, this is a direct order from the president
to save thousands more.
Let them release the gas. Now!
The new non-stop season of 24 continues. Tonight at 9 on Fox 5. Then on Fox 5 News at 10, the dangers of mold.
I could take a swab in anyone's home and find mold.
You've heard all the horror stories, but not this one. Fox 5 News goes undercover. See who's cashing in on our fears of getting sick and what you can do to stop them. Tonight after 24 on Fox 5 News at 10.
Tim and Jan each own a business. Very different businesses. And they both just opened custom business banking accounts from Wachovia. For very different custom business banking accounts. That's because, unlike other banks, Wachovia lets you choose the banking services that best fit your needs. From free online bill pay to no monthly service fee money market accounts. And even though Tim and Jan don't bank the same, they do share a couple of things in common. Neither has to keep a minimum balance or pay a maintenance fee for the next 12 months. Plus, they have unlimited access to their accounts online, by phone, or at thousands of Wachovia financial centers and ATMs. That's custom business banking at Wachovia. How satisfied are you with your bank?
Open your custom business banking account today. Stop by a Wachovia Financial Center or visit wachovia.com/business. Offer good for new business accounts only. Account and transaction-related fees may apply. Wachovia Bank N.A. and Wachovia Bank of Delaware N.A. are members FDIC.
This is for Frank in New Haven. What's up, Frank? Listen, we hear your boss is a fanatic about downhill skiing, which, of course, means you are now a fanatic. Luckily, you can sign up for AT&T Yahoo high-speed internet for just $12.99 a month. That way, you can study up on the downhill in preparation for the next opportunity to suck up, and your boss will be none the wiser. Okay, that's Frank's world. For everybody that's not Frank, if we can deliver downhill skiing to him, we've got the right plan to deliver whatever sports you're into to you. AT&T Yahoo high-speed internet for just $12.99 a month for 12 months when new customers order online. Compare that to cable. Visit att.com/$12.99. Oh, and pucker up, Frank. It's the season for bonuses. SBC, now joined with AT&T. The new AT&T. Your world. Delivered. Taxes, other charges, and the Federal University Service Cost Republic Fee Extra. For details of additional charges, restrictions, and requirements, call 1-866-416-6471 toll-free or visit att.com/happy detail. Not available in all areas.
Hey, Dave. Let's play Which is Hotter. Okay, which is hotter? A Red Hot Chili Pepper smothered in flaming hot 4-alarm hot sauce or the Wawa roast turkey hoagie?
That makes no sense.
What are you talking about?
Well, you're talking about hotness in two entirely different contexts. Okay? Your pepper scenario is based on a spicy hot theme.
Yeah.
While the Wawa roast turkey hoagie, with a pile of juicy roasted turkey that melts in one's mouth, that's more about a belly-warming, serve-it-up, piping hot kind of hot.
Whatever. Which is hotter?
Well, you're not comparing apples to apples. Be fair.
Oh, come on, we're saying about apples. Which is hotter, a Wawa roast turkey hoagie or Red Hot Chili Pepper smothered in flaming hot four-alarm hot sauce?
2 words. Family of hotness.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Look, which is hotter, the Wawa roast turkey hoagie or the Wawa roast pork hoagie? See? Or the meatball hoagie? Or even the roast beef hoagie? Get crazy.
That's not what I asked.
Well, which is hotter, molten lead or molten lava?
Molten lava?
You see analogies?
Well, here's what. Hang out with you. Seriously.
Delicious, built to order and each hot in its own special way. The world-famous hot hoagies from Wawa. Get yours today.
Gotta have a Wawa.
It is coming up on 35 minutes past the hour here at the Imus-Feb program. Well, we have a bit of drama here at the curling venue between Norway and the United States in the round 2 here. What do they call it?
This is so stupid.
They're measuring to see which stone is closer to the circle. And it appears that the one from Norway, I think Norway won this.
Look at this thing they got out there.
Yeah, Norway did win it.
It's like a coach's review, a challenge thing, or?
No, it just seems, but you can see by the naked eye that Norway won this round. So
Looks like
it's got to be like 2-1, I guess. Looks like.
It's like the old screw job.
But the one pushing the stone from Norway is a real beast. That is really. That's troubling.
Looks like Tanya Harding today. No Fox is doing that.
So Norway won. They call it sheet. So the end of the sheet A, Norway won that one. That's unfortunate. They suck. Well, whatever. What's going on in sports, Chris?
I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the shot of these two idiots in the stands with their little American flags, and it says, 2 Johnson sisters. Woo!
And if the camera pulled back, there are nobody else in the stand.
No one. Exactly right.
Who's getting tickets for the curling match?
So at the end of 2 chuckers or floinens or whatever it is, U.S. up 2-1. Michelle Kwan pulls out of the Olympics, groin injury, so Emily Hughes will take her place on the Olympic team. Apollo Anton Ono, well, he could not get it done in the 1,500-meter short track. He stumbled in the semifinal, didn't even make the final. The South Koreans finished 1-2.
These are other events, right?
Yes, sir, I'm sorry. And that was the short track speed skating. And Bodie Miller in the downhill finished 5th, but he isn't disappointed with the result.
I was up, but I just got twisted, you know? I got rotated a little bit, and then I couldn't stay aerodynamic, but it was fun. It's like I was psyched. When I came across the line, I was psyched. Like, I was smiling.
Yeah, it was fun losing. He's got 4 more events to go. Sean White took home the gold for the U.S. in half-pipe snowboarding. He couldn't explain his success.
It was insane. I mean, got it with that first run, and I just had to sit up there and see how it hung out for me. I don't know. I'm overwhelmed right now. I can't explain it.
Are those brownies, dude? What's going on there? And the medal count, Norway has 7.
He's a cute kid.
A nice kid.
Yeah, great kid.
The Flying Tomato with the long red hair.
Oh, yeah, he's terrific.
Flowing, outstanding.
My new hero, 18 years old.
He could be the Iron Man's son.
Easily.
It does kind of look like it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And Carrot Top. 23 till the hour. The Imus-Feb program. We're already late for Monica Crowley.
Uh-oh.
But I wasn't paying attention, but then she probably isn't either. Anyway, please welcome to the Imus-Feb program. Why do I describe you now, Miss Crowley?
How about in limbo?
Right. The unemployed Monica Crowley.
Good morning to you, Don.
Her new show here at MSNBC is, as they say, in development.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Well, that means that we're planning to launch a brand new show on MSNBC sometime after the Olympics. But, you know, the Olympics only last, another week and a half or so. So
yes.
We're thinking about March, probably mid-March for the new show. Yeah.
Well, let's start with the Vice President trying to kill some guy down on some... I mean, you can't even make this story up, can you?
No, you can't make it up. And, you know, when I heard the story yesterday, Don, I thought, well, you know, maybe the Vice President thought he was hunting with Patrick Fitzgerald. Maybe he had this guy confused with, the special prosecutor in the Libby case and thought he could, score some points.
Maybe if he hadn't sought and received 5 deferments to keep him going to Vietnam, they'd have taught him how to use a gun, and he wouldn't have shot this guy.
Well, you have to wonder, he was hunting. This guy was a friend, and he was a political supporter of the vice president. So you have to wonder if this is how he treats his friends. I wouldn't want to be one of his enemies, And they also said, John, that the vice president was very apologetic. Can you imagine how that conversation went? I'm so sorry that I shot you. I mean, hello. The vice president of the United States. The jokes write themselves.
And apparently the vice president's office, we're looking for anything here to blame, to characterize the vice president's behavior as poor. They didn't announce it for like 24 hours, and initially people found out about it from a Corpus Christi newspaper website.
Yeah.
That's
not a good idea. When the vice president of the United States accidentally shoots somebody, you kind of need to get in front of that story. Okay? Because imagine if it had gone the other way. I mean, thank goodness that this man is fine. He's alert. He's okay. He's going to be okay. But imagine if it took a more unfortunate turn and this poor man had expired. What do you do then? Prosecute the vice president of the United States for manslaughter? What happens in this case? You got to kind of put the best spin on it possible when these things happen.
Well, there ought to be a trial anyway for him. By the way, Miss Crowley, how do you describe yourself politically? A conservative or?
I describe myself as a social moderate and a fiscal and national security conservative.
Okay. So he ought to be on trial anyway, in my view, the vice president. I'm sure you agree.
No, I do not.
Yeah, no. So we could just try him for this attempted murder as long as we had him in the courtroom. But on a far more serious, thank God the poor old lawyer's not dead.
Yeah.
Though there's a silver lining to all of this, in that he did shoot a lawyer as opposed to, say, a doctor. So.
Well, wasn't it Shakespeare who said first, let's kill all the lawyers? Yeah.
What do we make of what Scooter Libby is saying? Is Scooter Libby saying that the vice president, implying that the vice president told him to leak what's-her-name's name?
Well, there are two separate lines of argument here. One is that, which the National Journal reported last week, that Libby said in sworn testimony that he was, quote-unquote, authorized to leak Valerie Plame's name. His attorneys have said, no, that's not true, but there was no real further clarification on that. Since Scooter Libby was the chief of staff to the vice president, the only person who would, actually there are 2 people who would be qualified to give that authorization. One is his boss, the vice president, and the only other person would be the vice president's boss, which is President Bush. It's very unclear. Now, I can see, and I'm not saying that this conversation happened, but I can see, having worked with former President Richard Nixon during the last 4 years of his life, can see how a conversation like this might have gone down. And again, I'm not saying it happened, but you can see in a casual conversation talking about political enemies at that level, where you might say, well, how do we get the bastard? How do we go get the son of a gun? And in this case, Joe Wilson, who was talking about the pre-war intelligence on Iraq, how do we go get this guy? Is there anything we can discredit him with? What is out there on this guy that would make his arguments less credible, less believable? You can completely see how a conversation like that would go down without the implication, well, how do we go about it in an illegal way?
Right.
So there's still a lot more here that needs to be found out.
Like Nixon, apparently, when he was in office, used to rant and rave about various things. And certain aides who knew him well, in fact, even you said, he would come in and tell you to do stuff, and you would wait a day.
That's right.
Or till in the afternoon to see if he still meant that you should do it. And apparently, often he did not. He was just blowing off steam. But you can see where a couple of whack jobs like Haldeman and Ehrlichman and Chuck Colson and some of those people, just at the mere suggestion of doing something that met a goal they had anyway.
Right.
That they would go off and do it, and later on in the afternoon, Nixon would have changed his mind the next morning, but it was too late,
I think one of the things, having worked with President Nixon, having seen a lot of these presidents